Step into the day with the dawn ringing in my ears. Oh, I tune into my TV show. No better way, I gotta get myself into gear. Let's go. Oh, and I feel good today with my wake up in the morning espresso. I feel good today. It's my feel good breakfast show.
Prancing into your Tuesday morning. You just missed the most dramatic prance. That's what I'm going to call it. You flew into Tuesday morning. Very good morning. Hopefully you're flying into your day just like us and feeling as excited, pumped, enthused about the day ahead of us. Very good morning. My name is Graham Richards.
And I'm Raul. Good morning. And of course, thank you for joining us on this Tuesday where we're choosing to spend it with you, Mzansi, of course.
And it's a Health Tuesday at that here on the show. So, of course, last week we spoke about the new strand of COVID-19 here in South Africa with questions overflowing on both social media and our studio phone line. So thank you so much for your contributions. We've now given you another opportunity to ask your unanswered questions related to COVID-19 and its vaccine. That's certainly a topic that came up a lot. Please stay tuned as we're going to delve into this topic after 8 this morning. We'll try to answer as many questions as we can. And we'll open our studio lines again. That number that you probably should have on speed dial by now is 021 110 552. Keep it on hand.
Yeah, and of course, guys, stay tuned for the very end of the show where we've got a little small treat from all the presenters, and you're not going to want to miss it.
I don't know if it's a treat.
That's a good. That's true. That's a good point.
It's a spectacle at that. Now, we're going to have a lot of fun. It is a Tuesday, and we'll have some serious, yes, but we're also going to have a little bit of the light side of life, and we'll be back in the kitchen cooking up a storm. And there is a new kid on the block, and he is mind-blowing on the tech front. So you want to stay tuned for that. But right now, let's connect with our gorgeous ladies. Good morning, girls.
Good morning, boys. Good morning to you, Mzansi. So good to be able to wake up with you this morning on this Tuesday, but it's also Tuesday here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show, and we are, of course, in the W Beauty Room. You are dressed to impress already. Everything is
is it?
Girl, you could pull off anything.
That's true, though. I love that. Thank you so much, Jamie. Good morning, everybody. Kamalam Gukusha Adams clocking in for duty this morning. As Jamie Lee has mentioned, it's Tuesday, so you at home get the opportunity to choose an outfit for me. Today, we have two different tops here, Jamie Lee, and it's a difficult one because I've decided to go with a very simplistic look to pair up with my jeans. My shoes are already detailed, the bedazzled for the guads, everybody. But two sophisticated looks to pair up with my jeans. It's very nice, very chilled. I mean, it is summer. I don't know if you've felt the heat in Cape Town, so we do need something that's really lightweight, that also complements I love colors that complement my skin tone or patterns as well. So this is the perfect way to go. So the first option, okay, is the split neck sage top over there. It's a tunic top. It's very chilled. It's lightweight as well. I love how it will just effortlessly fall, you know, below my waist. And also we have a boho, a gypsy inspired top, also with lightweight material, with beautiful patterns of different flowers on it, as you can see, but it's long sleeve. So you, yes, you get to decide, okay, which of these two tops I get to wear today.
I feel like you've already made up your mind in your head, which one, because you're going for.
I'm not. I'm 50-50.
I would love to see both of it on you, just because I feel like both would complement you. But it's not up to me, everybody. It is up to you at home. So you, the viewers at home, get to vote on our Expresso morning page. Let us know which top Kutla should wear today for the Tuesday. We are going to, of course, reveal it a little bit later on. But right now, it's off to the official duties of the day and find out what's happening in those news headlines with G.
Thank you so much, ladies. Let's start here in South Africa with a hot topic. At the moment, there will be no load shedding today. Eskom suspended load shedding at 11 o'clock, that is 11 last night. The power supplier said 2 generating units at the Kusile and the Creel power stations and one at Tutuka had been reconnected to the network. It said that a further 2 units would probably be able to be connected to the network again today. But Eskom added that the system remained vulnerable and unpredictable and called on the public to continue to use electricity sparingly. Then the military website Global Firepower has ranked South Africa as having the 32nd largest military strength in the world. That behind Egypt in 13th and Algeria in 27th place here in Africa. Global Firepower has published its military strength ranking for 2021, featuring 138 countries. America is said to be the most powerful country in the world, with 1.4 million active military personnel, 13,233 aircraft, more than 6,000 tanks, and a defense budget of $740 billion. The US is followed by Russia, China, India, and then Japan. Now, moving to the international front, Ugandans are celebrating the resumption of internet services after a shutdown was imposed ahead of last week's election. However, social media platforms remain blocked and are only accessible using virtual private networks. This as President Yoweri Museveni, who won an unprecedented 6th term in office, had accused the platforms of being biased. Meanwhile, the presidential candidate for the opposition National Unity Platform, Bobi Wine, alleged that the poll was marred by fraud and that the internet was shut down to prevent them from sharing evidence of fraud to the world. And people may be able to fight off reinfection for at least 6 months after they recover from COVID-19, thanks to cells that can remember the virus. This is according to research published yesterday. Researchers in the United States and Switzerland studied dozens of people who had recovered from COVID-19 and found that while their antibodies may fade over time, they maintained levels of specific memory B cells. And these cells can remember the pathogen and can, if faced with reinfection, prompt the immune system to reinitiate the production of virus-fighting antibodies. And now, news of a train, a blast off its horn, and red-faced scrum half from South Africa. So before we move on to the actual sports news, let's hear how red-faced Nick Groom, former UCT and Western Province and Lions rugby scrum half and a friend of our show, was after mistaking a passing train's horn for the half-time hooter during Edinburgh's clash with Glasgow Warriors over the weekend. So he booted the ball out of bounds with some 30 seconds remaining in the first half of Edinburgh's 23-22 defeat to Glasgow. His stern coach, Richard Cockrell, wasn't the least impressed and said in a low growl he thought the train's horn was the half-time horn. He used it used to that in the Southern Hemisphere, despite being here a couple of years. Now, Edinburgh were 10-6 ahead when Groom's blooper occurred, and Glasgow profited from the auditory error, potting over a penalty to cut the half-time deficit to 10-9. And then the Glasgow lads hung in there, eventually winning by a single point, 23-22. Groom's amazing blooper has everyone in Scottish rugger circles obviously chuckling, and he's going to battle to live this one down for sure in the future. Well, you can have your own chuckle as we get into the actual sports headlines this morning. Well, let's continue with rugby news. Rugby World Cup winning coach and current SA Rugby director of rugby, Rassie Erasmus, says the Springboks will do whatever it takes to play the British and Irish Lions. The 8-match tour is currently in doubt due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. The British and Irish Lions tour is scheduled for July and August of this year. On to cycling, the 2021 Cape Town Cycle Tour has been postponed due to the coronavirus. A statement released by organisers yesterday confirmed that the tour will not take place in March and has been moved to a later date in the year. The new date for the cycle tour is yet to be actually confirmed, though. Organisers asked cyclists to follow their social media channels for updates over the coming few weeks. And on to footballing action. Monday night saw Arsenal thrash Newcastle United 3-0 to get back to winning ways at the Emirates Stadium, and of course in the Premier League. 3 second-half goals, a brace by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and one by Bukayo Saka, securing the much-needed win for the Gunners. So Arsenal moved up one spot to 10th on the table now. Newcastle sitting down in 15th place on the log, and they remain without a win in 9 games in all competitions. We'll touch on all of those sporting headlines again on the top of the hour. Right now, though, let's greet the world with some of your beautiful sunrise pictures and get our first take on the weather.
Thank you so much, Steve, for the news and sports update. It's time for us to get into the first look at your stunning sunrise pictures. We have asked you to send in your sunrise photos on our Facebook page, and you have pulled through. Josephine Pickstone from Noordhoek sent through this beautiful silhouette of the mountains. Now you can expect a mild day reaching a maximum of 23 degrees with a 42% chance of rain. Nick Lombard, who joined us yesterday, captured this picturesque sunrise in the Northern Cape. You will experience a partly cloudy day, reaching a maximum of 29 degrees. Thank you so much for your stunning sunrise pictures. Please do continue to contribute to our weather report by sending through your sunrise photos on Expresso's Facebook page. Let's get into some environmental news. After years of drought and massive fires last year, farmers in the northwestern part of the Free State experienced widespread flooding in the first weeks of 2021. Heavy rains triggered flooding, with some farmers losing crops and equipment. And while several farmers welcomed the rain, the flooding destroyed some maize plantations in the area. Tropical storm Charlene, which moved in from Madagascar, contributed to the massive amounts of rain that fell in the province, as well as the Northern Cape and Northwest. More than 450 millimeters fell since shortly before Christmas between Beltfontein, Witstad and Wesselsbron in the Free State. The Free State's Gariep Dam, which has the largest storage capacity in South Africa, was 99% full last week, compared to 65% a year ago. We get into the temperatures for the rest of our beautiful country. Starting off with Polokwane, it's a partly cloudy day with temperatures ranging from 17, reaching a high of 27. Bombela, it's a mostly sunny one for you with a maximum temperature of 29 degrees. Pretoria, you kick off your Tuesday morning with a minimum of 17 and will reach an afternoon high of 30 degrees. Jozi Maboneng, you also have a very warm day coming your way with a maximum of 28 degrees. Mahikeng, 1931. Klerksdorp, make sure you keep hydrated and don't leave your sunscreens because you'll experience a maximum of 32 degrees. Kimberley also follows suit with the same maximum of 32, but be on the lookout for 25% chance of rain forecast for this Tuesday. Bloemfontein, 1931. Richards Bay, 2231. It's a sunny day out in Pietermaritzburg with a maximum of 33 degrees. Durban, South Africa's playground, 2330 are your temperatures for this Tuesday. Mthatha down in the Eastern Cape, you kick off your morning with a low of 17. Nifike kwi high of 36 degrees. Whew, it's going to be a hot day, Mthatha. East London, 1930. And Craddock, close to 40 degrees is your maximum, 31. Oh, it's going to be a sunny day in your part of the country. Make sure to keep hydrated. Port Elizabeth, 1826. And George, some rain coming your way at 80% forecast for the day. And Cape Town, 42% chance of rain, just to take a quick breather from the heat that we have been experiencing the past week. Worcester, 1131. And Sutherland, it's a sunny day with a maximum of 28 degrees. And Uppington, you start off with a warm 22 degrees and you reach a high of 38 degrees. Seems like most parts of the country are going to be experiencing some extreme heat, so please make sure to protect yourselves, stay hydrated, and make sure you don't forget your sunscreens. But we'll have a look at your stunning sunrise pictures and the weather report at the top of the hour. But for now, remember, whichever part of the country you're in, whatever the weather, make sure to have yourselves a feel-good kind of day.
Thank you so much for that update. Quickly, we're asking you on our social media this morning, what's up with WhatsApp? Of course, they've updated their privacy policy. Are you switching to Telegram? Are you switching to Signal? Have you been using it already? Please let us know and share maybe some more insight about your experience with these new platforms of ways to connect with people. Ryle,
Why are you laughing?
I don't think you should swap to anything because you have 700 unread messages on WhatsApp. You don't need another form of social media.
It is a good time for me to kind of just get away from everything. But no reason to answer any of my messages. I know it is a problem, but yeah, I don't even have a clue when it comes to this stuff. I don't even use WhatsApp, so I'm really interested to find out what do I need to do. So you guys, of course, Mzansi, let us know on our social media channels. What are you doing? Are you transferring over to a new application for your messaging, or are you sticking to your guns and WhatsApp? We're going to have a specialist to let us know all about the do's and don'ts and the what ifs and the what not. But of course, we'll find out a little bit later. Enjoy, and we will see you soon.
Are you ready for a sizzling summer holiday, Mzansi? Your best holiday is yet to come when you book at any participating Marriott branded hotel. Redefine your holiday with a beach break, nature retreat, or a road trip adventure. With the Marriott Summer Holiday offer, you can enjoy 25% off standard hotel rates, including free breakfast if you're a Marriott Bonvoy member and 15% if you're a non-Bonvoy member. Book on Marriott.com for the best rates guaranteed.
back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Expresso here on SABC3. If nyaqala ufika andiyazi nisuka phi, but before the break, I left the fate of Tuesday's outfit in your hands on our Facebook poll, and Jamie Lee has the results right now.
I do. I don't know if the boys can see this, but we'll start off with Robin Weingard's comment. She says, I think Kuthle would make the sage shirt look absolutely beautiful. So we have a sage shirt coming through. We have Pranesha Naidoo saying definitely the sage short-sleeved. Yolanda says floral, it will complement your shoes. Ashadullah, our friend, says, I love the short sleeve. Good morning, definitely the sage short sleeve top. Both will look good on you, but the short sleeves definitely for you. I think the people have spoken. They're giving you what you want. Also because you resonated so much with it, but also because they have style. Both look beautiful.
You so
but
much.
The sage, I would also.
I would like to thank all of you Facebook followers for choosing this moment for me. It's a very special one. The sage shirt is a beautiful. I just love the way it's so lightweight. It falls effortlessly on your body. I'm not hating the blouse, but I think it's a very easy choice to go with this one because of the conditions that we are currently experiencing. It's a hot day, okay? And this is a long sleeve. So, Jamie Lee, I
think, just to give everyone what they want, tomorrow you can wear that.
Maybe tomorrow,
Yes,
ne?
maybe tomorrow.
Okay, cool. So that everyone's happy.
Everyone's happy.
I agree with you. I'm going to go change quickly, okay?
Absolutely.
Cheers.
And of course, you can shop any of these looks in-store, online, or on the WhatsApp.
Thank you so much, ladies. A beautiful choice indeed, and that is a one way to choose your Tuesday and get it started, of course. Now, we're talking about a food blogger, chef, and the wife behind My Hungry Husband, who joins us in the studio to share some of her recipe creations that will hopefully inspire you to get cooking and this week's home recipes. But before we get stuck into the kitchen, we want to know a little bit about the amazing foodie blog and get to know the man that we all know as the husband. Guys, good morning. How are we doing? Ilham, Kashif, it's so good having you guys in the studio.
Thank you.
So I've got to ask firstly, Ilham, aka the wife.
Yeah.
I've seen the blog that's online and people are absolutely loving it. But where exactly and how did this entire journey even start? I mean, you've got incredible foods, you've got awesome lists, you've got advice, but where did it begin?
Well, I mean, to be honest, it was actually, he made a joke about it one day because I used to call him my hungry husband because, you know, when you're newly married and now you need to cook like 3 times a day or whatever it is.
And you've got this monster stomach to feed.
And I mean, I'm the type of person, like, I'll have tea and like, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know, but I was like, oh no, I actually need to like make food now. So it was just a joke and I called him my hungry husband. He was like, you should start a blog. And I was like, yeah, I should. And then I did.
I just picture you writing the blog. I'm going to call it with an A. So listen, Kashif, your wife, I've seen her talent. It's absolutely exceptional, and you are truly blessed to have in your life. But I got to ask the story of how did you actually meet in the first place?
Well, I was in New York, and we actually met online in 2006 during the days of MySpace.
Okay,
so
it's interesting. We were speaking about meeting up in social media yesterday on the show.
Yesterday,
So
yeah.
this is another happy ending. I love it.
exactly. So like we basically had a long distance relationship for the course of
What, 8 years?
8 years, and we finally met up in 2013 when I came to South Africa.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Well,
I mean, like that's how, you know, and then
and the rest is foodie history.
Yeah.
exactly, pretty much, yeah.
Right, so I mean, the beautiful thing that I find about the blog and what you guys are doing is that it's actually so relatable. It's not these food stylist, incredible creations that takes the entire week to make.
Yeah.
I looked at it and I can see that it's something even I could do. And one thing I noticed is that not only are you creating the foods, but you're also providing advice on how to shop, where to shop, and what are the essentials that you need when it comes to cooking and making some of the beautiful foods that you have. So my question to you, because I'm trying to learn, I'm new in the game of cooking and as a bachelor trying to make as much as I can, what would you say are the 5 essential items that I would need to and always make sure that I have when it comes to my pantry list? Something that I need when it comes to, I need to make something, you always need to have these on standby. What would those 5 be?
I think, you know, I could say like all my favorite things. But I think when it comes to each person, if there's something that you're comfortable making and that you enjoy eating, I would pick from there. So like for us, it's, you know, I love coriander as a herb. So I make sure
think
that like...
G in the studio might disagree with you there. That's not on his list.
So I always make sure I have like coriander, and then, you know, things like rice and pasta, something that you can always make, and then some type of protein that you have in your freezer that you can take out really quickly, and then, you know, your favorite vegetables. So for us, it's like I always have some type of like baby cabbage or salad ingredients.
Okay.
Because those are the things that I can literally turn into anything, you know, in half an hour if I need to make something. Because before, when we were still going to work and we used to come home, in half an hour I would be like, okay, I need to cook something. I'm not going to stay in the kitchen for longer than half an hour. It needs to be quick. It needs to be tasty. And yeah, so those are the things that I would do.
I love it. I'm going to have you in mind next time I go to the shops. All right, so guys, I thought we'd play a bit of a game and have some fun with you guys, seeing that you have such a great energy, you have such an awesome vibe on your blog and on Instagram, which I'm often checking out. So I thought I'd challenge you to see how well you actually do know each other, right? Oh. So Kashif, I'm going to be asking you to write down the answers to a few questions, okay? So my question to you is, I want you to write down, put a chalkboard next to you there, and I don't want you to let Ilham see it, okay? So what I'd like you to do is write down, hide that board from her though, your top 3 favorite meals that Ilham prepares for you. And then we're going to ask Ilham to give us the answers and see if she really does know your top 3 that well.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, makes
All right, so what do you want you to do? The cameraman can sneak. He can take a little sneak peek while you're writing your answers. But Ilham, I don't want you to look, and we're really going to test you guys and see how well you really, truly do know each other. How well you know the husband and the wife.
Well, he asks for these things like at least once a week. So,
This is going to be easy, yeah? All right, how are we doing there? How many more answers we got, Kashif?
We got 1.
Okay, we got 1 so far.
Like,
and Ilham is giggling here like she already knows it. I feel a little bit of telepathy going on here. This is unfair.
Yeah, no, it's just, I mean, I think I know.
I don't even know how to spell the last one.
You don't know how to spell the last one? You do know how to eat it though, so that's important.
Yeah,
that's
the most important part. All right, Kashif, you ready for us? Don't show Ilham the answers though, right? So what I'm going to ask you to do is you can pass the board just over to me. Thank you very much, and I will keep them over here. So the cameraman can see, all right? So I'm going to go with, it doesn't matter what order it is. So Ilham, I want you to tell me, what is the first favorite dish of your husband?
He loves dal and rice.
He loves?
Dal and rice.
Dal and rice, number 1. You have got it. Congratulations, Ilham. Right, okay, you know the husband.
Yeah.
So far, 1 out of 3, all right. What is the next meal?
Spaghetti bolognese.
Oh, yes, number 3, we've got bolognese. Spelling seems okay from what I can see, but I'm not the best. And then the last one, let's see if we get 3 out of 3 here.
I think he probably would have said pot stickers.
Ooh, he's got dumplings.
Dumplings.
Close.
Okay.
Kind of close, but guys, I can't complain. I think that was a brilliant game. You definitely do know the husband, and I think you're so blessed to have each other. Guys, thank you for sharing everything that you are. It's really been just a pleasure just to learn from you and engage with you and see what relationships can be, and I'm truly inspired by that. Guys, you got to check them out online, of course, and thank you once again for joining us, and I hope to see and chat with you guys more on the show. Thank you. All right, guys, well, of course, so much magic. I want to check them out for sure online and on their social media channels, and chat to us and let us know what you might think would be a favorite meal or something that you would advise. And we will be joining them in the kitchen later to really test out the skills and see if it does warm the belly like we all do believe. But of course, guys, stay tuned for the magic. We'll catch up later.
Definitely excited to try all those lovely recipes from the 2 of them. But of course, someone who's slaying the day. She's changed, she is ready.
Girl.
She is,
I just need to touch up quickly so that I can give the people what they've been voting for. Listen, I am so
No, wait, I feel like you need to do a dramatic turn. Do it.
A dramatic turn.
Dun, ta, da, dun, ta, da.
You guys know my vibe, you know my swag, you know how comfortable I like feeling and moving around, and this sage top does just that. I know that a lot of people on Facebook were worried that they won't match my shoes, but as you can see, it blends in very nicely because it's a pastel kind of color. So when it's pastel and a light pink and just jeans with golden accessories all over me, draped in golden.
What?
It just works wonders. So shout outs to you for just taking note of one of my favorite things, which is just comfort and looking cute.
And now we are ready to slay the rest of this Tuesday. So thank you so much for choosing Kutle's outfit. We'll see you in a moment.
Only you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
As a parent, it is vital that we understand the important role we play in our child's physical activities. We need to ensure that we encourage them, that we motivate them, help them develop a positive sporting attitude, and that we teach them that it's okay not always to win. It's okay, Ryle, not to win all the time, buddy.
Well, look, guys, joining us this morning is Western Province athletics coach, national sprinter, and Milnerton High School teacher, Roscoe Engel, who will be discussing the benefits of sport for children and how parents can go about helping their kids pick the right sport for them. Roscoe, my coach as well, always delivering the pain. How are you doing this morning, man?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's such a wonderful experience to represent coaches and move the way forward as we will be opening sport again in 2021. So what an introduction.
Yeah, man, completely, man. He doesn't look so bad. The way he talks about you, that you know, I was expecting horns, man. Yeah. I love the fact that you are here and that we're pushing something that's my physical life growing up has given me so much. Being able to participate in sports, have amazing coaches, mentors, teammates. It's taught me so much about myself and about life. Why do you think, as a coach who works in that space with kids, why it's so important for kids, for young people to have participation in sports, and what do they benefit from?
Well, first you learn about teamwork and working together, and the ethics that sports brings is to respect each other, and it helps you with big skills in making decisions. This is the biggest part for me, is decision making.
Oh, look, Roscoe, I've seen it, and I see you coaching, and I see all the parents watching, and it seems to be such an easy thing to get involved in when you maybe as a parent were a sprinter, and now all you want for your kid is to be a sprinter. Like, you're going to be a sprinter, it's in our family's blood. But how do you actually go about choosing the right sport for your kid and not just putting your sort of ambition and dream onto them?
Patience is a big part of it in the development of any young pupil. And they have to experiment, you know, they have to try every different sport, and sometimes they follow their friends as well, and it helps, it comforts them in doing all the different sports. And then actually they grow into one or even two. Sometimes there's a summer and there's a winter, and we hope that it keeps the child on the right track with all the development and skills, because they invest themselves big time.
And it's not only those that are excelling at the top tier of that, but you want kids to be involved, you know, regardless of their aptitude. So when do you know how much to push? If your child isn't showing a natural skill in something, do you push them a little bit harder to maybe dig a bit deeper, find something, or do you move on to something else? How should you as a parent be pushing your child, do you think?
My parents that I am involved with young pupils, they have so much trust in me, and I am grateful for that. So when the parents trust in the coach can actually help them make such a good decision for their child's future. As for pushing, you don't really want to apply that much pressure on a young pupil. They will gain the experience themselves, but also you need that little bit of pressure just to help develop them further. You know, diamonds form under pressure as well.
Yeah, said like a true coach. I love that.
And I have to throw this question in, Roscoe. You've been in the sport and you've been pushing, you've dealt with the pressure for so many years, all the way to beating someone by the likes of like Justin Gatling, man, in which I look up to you. But were you given that pressure from your parents, or is it something that you kind of developed on your own through your process?
Well, I've had a lot of guidance from my parents. This was their biggest contribution and I appreciate it so much. But I've also learned to develop on my own, gain strength over time and experience and constant training and races. You know how hard we train. And versing each other even in training develops that confidence too. So by the time I got to face a world champion like Justin Gatlin, it was just muscle memory. It calmed myself down. I thought that all the hard work has been done. So it's time to face off. There's nothing further you can do in that moment but just perform, do your best, get excited, be in your happy space, and everything just unfolds.
That's enough to get any parent excited when you're hearing your child speak like this.
Man, I'm thinking about myself as a parent on the sidelines, man. I don't know what kind of parent I'm going to be with my poor kids. I have a feeling I'm going to be a coach's worst nightmare with this mouth, man. So what is the right thing to say on the sidelines, whether it's an individual sport or a team sport? What should parents on those sidelines be saying?
Well, firstly, for a young pupil, knowing that there's somebody on the side is so comforting, knowing that they have a place to go celebrate.
Just be there.
Afterwards, if things went well, and if things didn't go that well, there's also a place of comfort, you know, to go discuss things, and a parent will always then guide and console them, you know, to help make them better decisions where things might have gone wrong. And that allows a child to actually perform and go in the right direction with strength and comfort, knowing there's somebody on the side that has their back.
I actually love it. It sounds like you're not even speaking about sport. It seems like these are life skills.
This is life, yeah, for sure.
But Roscoe, thank you so much. We all want the best for our kids, of course, and that's why it's so important to ensure they start the day off with a nutritious breakfast and beverage. Now, whether they like their Milo hot or cold, there's no better breakfast drink to accompany the most important meal of the day. So start the day off right, and you might just end up like this champion over here.
It's got to be cold. Let's just all agree on one thing. It's got to be cold, man. Thank you, Ross. You're a legend.
Thank you, man.
Breakfast your day with Nestle Milo.
Thank you so much for that conversation, boys. We are back in the kitchen and we are extremely excited to welcome back the creator and chef behind My Hungry Husband, Ilaman, also known as The Husband, Kashif Banubai Anwar, to our kitchen. Now, they will be sharing a tried and also tested recipe by the husband himself for the best ever Asian slaw. And this is tried and tested. You saying that this is the best Asian slaw you've ever had in your life.
Absolutely.
Blink twice if you know. You
have to say that.
You have to say that. I mean, it's fine. It's
good.
tried and tested.
Yeah.
So we're going to leave it all up to you to get the slaw started.
Okay, so the reason why I love this recipe so much is because you can basically tailor it to what you have at home. So, you know, whether you have all of these ingredients or just some of them, it's like one of those recipes that you can use to like clean out your fridge, basically. Like, you know, when you have those veggies that you were supposed to eat but that you didn't eat. So what I've got here is some fresh ingredients, and then we've got the dressing, which I think Kashif can help me with.
You're not just the hungry husband, you're also the hungry helper.
Exactly.
No, he needs to help so he can eat. Otherwise, you know, that's the payment. So we've got some honey here just for the dressing, some rice vinegar, and some soy sauce and some sesame oil. So for this dressing, I really like this. It's very light because for something like this, you can actually do sort of two things. You can either use a mayonnaise and make a more traditional coleslaw, or if you want, you know, you can actually make this Asian dressing, which is much lighter. And what I love about this is that it's just really fresh. It's just such a fresh recipe, especially now in summer. You know, it might be better to have something like this, whereas, you know, mayonnaise, comfort food, you know, it's a bit heavier, yeah. So if you could just mix all of these ingredients together, you can just throw everything into the bowl and mix it.
That's easy. It's not all
very
about
easy.
eating. We also want you to get involved just a little bit so that we can see that like it is tried and tested. And then Ilham, of course, and I love the fact that you said you could use whatever ingredients in this, because I think the beauty of cooking is whatever you have in your kitchen, whatever it's your palate. If you wanted to throw chilies in there, you could go with it, go wild with the flavors.
Yeah.
So what are we adding to the cabbage?
So we've got here some julienne red cabbage, so it's just very finely sliced. And just a tip for this, if you struggle with your knife skills, you can use a peeler to actually just peel the cabbage, and it makes it really fine julienne. And then we've got some green cabbage, so I like a bit of both, so we can add some green cabbage in here.
Is there a difference in the texture?
So no, I feel like it's slightly different flavor between the two.
Okay.
And then we've also got some julienne carrots. So just for that color, I feel that orange just looks amazing. And then this is probably my favorite ingredient.
Is that something we don't skip out on?
No.
That is something you need to have in there.
These two are probably my favorites. Coriander, always have lots of coriander, and spring onion. So for me, this just drives the Asian theme home. And then I would say these are optional. So if you like bean sprouts, you can have raw bean sprouts in there. And then also if you want to make this into, you go into a braai, you want to make it more sort of filling. So you could either do just all of these ingredients, so just your coleslaw, so your
starter kit.
Exactly. Your starter kit is this. And then you can actually add ingredients. So if you wanted to make it into a more like substantial meal, you could actually add the rice, vermicelli noodles. And then something that's also really great right now in summer, we've got mango in season. So so mango. So if you are going to add mango, I think try and pick one that's not super ripe. So it must be like a little bit green on the green side, and you can julienne that. So we can actually add that in as well. And then if you like peanuts, you can add some toasted peanuts. And then this one I would say is a bit of a fancier peanut.
If you're trying to show off, at the braai, and you're like, I'm bringing the best ever Asian slaw.
Yes,
this is how you get upstage.
Check out my my fancy palette. Then you've got some peanut brittle. So if you just kind of mix all of this together, and what I love about this dish is that I usually keep like a big sort of bowl of this in my fridge, so I can literally use this. I can eat it as a salad. I can take it for lunch. So if I'm going for lunch, I can add some tuna. I can make a boiled egg. I can cook a chicken breast with this.
Yes.
Or if steak is more your thing, you can maybe have some steak. And then when it gets to like that end of the week and you're like, oh, I haven't finished my coleslaw, if you haven't added in like even the mango, you could just stir fry this. So that's why it's just so amazing, because it's really versatile, and you can add, anything that you have in your fridge. So, I mean, just looking at the colors and stuff, I absolutely love this dish. And let's add some of the bean sprouts, because this is my favorite.
Ooh. It screams color, it screams summer, it screams convenience, and also just quick. This took us less than 5 minutes. And of course, you can get all of this on expressoshow.com. So you'll finish it off with the mayonnaise, or are we going to do the...
I think we're going to do the dressing, and then if you are going to use peanut brittle, I think add that just before serving. So like when you're taking it to the table, put the dressing, you can just... Ooh, this dressing looks good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Well done. So we're just going to put the dressing over. And that sesame oil smell is just amazing. So you just dress it really nice. And even with the dressing, do it just before serving. So if you are going to take this for lunch, just keep your dressing in a little Tupperware, and then you can just shake it up and pour it over. And then put your spring onion, put your peanut brittle over just before serving. And the combination of flavors for this is just delicious.
And the crunch is there, everybody. Please do stay tuned because Ilham and Kashif will be back sharing another quick, easy and affordable recipe for tuna fish cakes that can be paired with this, which is the perfect accompaniment to go with this colorful slaw that we just made. And of course, to get the recipe and ingredients list, head on over to expressoshow.com. This is a thumbs up from husband, is it?
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up.
Only you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. Thanks for keeping it locked on the show. Here's a stat that might grab your attention. With 25% of more people having used mobile apps in July, between July and August and September last year, we head into 2021 knowing one thing for sure. Our smartphone is our most indispensable device. Bar none.
Absolutely, G. Now, Tabiso attended the Samsung Galaxy S21 series Unpacked event in Johannesburg last week. And listen, did he unpack? Let's check it out.
With innovative technology and a well-connected ecosystem so incredibly important, the Galaxy S21 is really all about empowering you to connect the best way you can with the things and people that matter most. It really will change the world. It is the ultimate flagship smartphone. And here to tell us more about it is Justin Hume. Justin, the man of the moment, really. You've spent so much time really packaging all of this exciting stuff for us.
It's a great job to have. I mean, I get to play with this, we get to introduce it, we have a lot of fun, right? It's top class stuff there.
Justin, following the experience of last year, everyone has been looking forward to 2021 and wondering what Samsung has in store for them and what the vision is for Samsung Mobile.
Exciting times ahead of us, we believe. You know, at the core of our business and our DNA is innovation, right? And so we want to bring the very latest to market product that suits our customers' needs. Now, going back to 2020, we introduced our Galaxy S20 at that point in time, and it was really about a product that was fitting in with this new normal that we were all starting to experience. But as we progressed through last year, as we entered into this year, we had to think about, well, what is Samsung's role in technology, our role in the industry right now? And we've defined it as being the ability to bring the everyday epic to our customer. So we wanted a product that would take the ordinary and everyday and make it an epic moment, so that when you're at home and you capture that picture of your child, it's an epic moment. This is what it should be. And that's our commitment, to bring technology into the market this year that is epic, that creates epic.
Well, you've got to tell us about the unveiling we've all seen today, which is the S21 series. What's it all about?
Well, I mean, the first thing that you see is 3 devices coming to market. So we've got the, as the name implies, Galaxy S21. That's a 6.2-inch display size phone. We then go to the S21 Plus, 6.7-inch, and then the big daddy of them, the Galaxy S21 Ultra at 6.8-inch displays. And again, they've got some slightly different features across there, but it's all premium flagship, very much focused on giving you an unbelievable camera experience, powerful battery, and the processing capability of these devices is just off the charts compared to what we've seen in the past.
Galaxy S21 is about stepping it up and taking it to a whole new level. It comes with a bold, striking design that is super sophisticated. It's all about the pro-grade camera that takes your everyday moments and creates experiences out of them in visual form. It is such an experience that makes your everyday epic. Well, you're bringing all of the excitement right at the start of a brand new year. Why did you decide to launch in this way at the start of 2021?
We've got the technology. We're excited to be sharing it with our customers at this point in time. But again, it kind of goes back to that, what is our vision for 2021? And we're taking cognizance of the environments that we're finding ourselves in, still this work from home approach. And we're understanding how central technology has become in our lives, how indispensable the mobile phone is. So thinking of that, thinking about the feature set that we've got, the processing power, there couldn't be a better time than now to introduce the brand new S21.
Justin, the S21 series lineup is absolutely incredible, but who is your target? Who are you targeting with these devices?
We're really seeing almost like two groups of customers. So the first one is a tech enthusiast, you know, that individual who is the latest, the greatest, and I want it, and they're going to go after that. And that's really where the Galaxy S21 Ultra plays. It's got all the pro-grade features, so content creators are going to love this product. You know, those people are posting through for Instagram, for YouTube, and the like. This product sorts everything out. Then there's also that customer who wants all the flagship features, maybe looking at price point as well, or perhaps want a phone that's slightly smaller, a little fits in my hand, you know, snugly and the like. And that's where we're positioning the Galaxy S21 and S21 Plus.
Well, that was an amazing insert. And of course, you know that we are a bit more conscious this year on your Feel Good Breakfast show with climate change affecting our planet and also our livelihoods. It is so important for us to make an effort to lead a sustainable lifestyle in order to help preserve our lovely planet for future generations. And Raul, I think this is so up your alley because you're all about nature boy, all about being sustainable.
Yeah.
Have you made any New Year's resolutions when it comes to this?
I don't think it's so much a resolution. It's just trying to be more active and more proactive. And it's so scary when I really think about what happens to any produce or anything that we discard, that we don't recycle. And I had such a blessed opportunity in the holidays. I actually, Jamie, went out to one of our big landfills. And what I realized is that literally if we as Mzansi, if we don't recycle, our plastic, our waste, our metals or anything literally just goes into the dump and into a landfill where we bury it. And if we don't take that active approach, the problem isn't going to be solved for us. And that just makes us become more a part of the problem. And that's something that I just am trying to implore and encourage with everybody to realize that and actually just understand what actually happens to your waste. You need to be responsible for it. And I think everybody right now just needs to be more aware of the impact that they have on society and on our beautiful planet. In yourself, Jamie, are you involving anything like that?
So here's the thing, I don't always want to just go jump ahead into anything. It's all about making small changes and being conscious about it. So myself and my family, it's all about when we go to the stores, it's not taking extra plastic bags, it's going in with, you know, cloth bags and just making sure that it's reusable. We can actually use it over and over again. So those small steps will ultimately just go towards the bigger picture like you and just being more conscious with regards to this year.
And I love that, and I see it to be such a big trend, the fact that we have multiple use items and we don't just use and discard as we go. And one thing I think is even more awesome is someone like Expresso. It's a brand that's actually being aware, they are conscious. And look at their Nespresso pods as an example. It's all recyclable. You saw earlier in the show we had a bicycle made from these pods. And I think it's so important and it's so good that big brands are sharing the world and encouraging and nurturing an environment that we can actually live in the future.
Yeah.
So kudos to that and kudos to Nespresso, and I think big brands all out there should definitely take some note on this.
And of course, if you want to be conscious for this year, you can take all of your used capsules to an Expresso boutique to have them recycled. And thank you so much for my coffee. I really appreciate this as well. Cheers to you.
Guilt-free indulgence.
Hey.
Cheers, Jamie.
We chose some of the world's rarest local coffee crafts and refined them to create 5 distinct new tastes. After all, we are the choices we make.
Welcome back. You're still locked in. It's your Feel Good Breakfast Show here on your special Tuesday. And we're choosing to be in the kitchen this time. And now earlier we made an ultimate Asian slaw recipe with food blogger and chef Ilham from The Hungry Husband and the husband himself, Kashif Anwar. Now we promised you we wouldn't just leave you with a salad and without obviously adding something delicious to serve with it, of course. Now Ilham and her husband Kashif are going to show us a quick, easy and budget-friendly recipe for this crunchy, spicy fish cake.
Okay, so
I am so ready for this. Please, please, please. And the fact that you're using tuna as well, my cup of tea. Great, clean, lean source of protein. So for the gym as well, this is ticking the boxes. So you got a happy presenter and a hungry husband. Now, serve us, please.
Okay, so I love this recipe because of exactly what you said. The tuna, it's from a tin. It's really easy, and also you can, you know, you can adapt this recipe, and you can actually, if you are banting, for example, or if you need to eat a high-protein meal, you know, you can leave out the potato, but we're just going to add one small mashed potato in there.
Beautiful.
And what's great about this is that if I do 1 tin of tuna with 1 egg and 1 small potato, I can make about 10 to 12 small fish cakes. Okay. So if you need to make for more people, you know, you can just double that amount.
I got you.
Or you can just...
Now, just a quick one, and I don't want to detract too much from the main recipe, but for guys like me that maybe don't even know how to make a potato like that, that's mashed. Is there something I can just like pop in the microwave?
I would suggest you just cut it up into smaller pieces so that it cooks quicker into the microwave with a little bit of water. Okay. And then just wait until it's soft. All right. But for this recipe, just make sure that your potato is dry.
Okay, I got you.
And then we're going to add about, I think, half an onion that's been chopped. And then optional, if you like some chili in your life.
Oh, I think Chef Clem, if he was here, he would absolutely love you. We've got a big chili fan base out here, so definitely.
And then some coriander again, because it's my favorite herb.
And now that means she's not going to have this anymore, but I certainly will. Kashif, I've got to ask you, while we're making this delicious meal, have you been able to learn through the process of eating all these beautiful meals that you get to? Have you learned a thing or two in the kitchen as well on how to prepare some dishes?
Yeah, like I think it definitely made me appreciate the process of cooking a lot more. You know, like, it's like for me before it was just an omelet, or you know, like fried egg was my forte kind of thing. You know? Yeah. But now, I mean, like I think I ended up making a proper cheesecake just, you know, so I was...
So you went straight from 0 to 100. And was it edible? Did it...
It was really good.
Okay. Oh, nice. Well done.
At least you liked it,
Yeah, no, it was really good. Yeah.
Okay. So we might have a new blog coming soon, My Hungry Wife.
My Hungry Wife.
Watch this space. All right, sorry. So you were busy adding...
Yeah, I'm just going to add...
the oil, but before you did, you've got egg.
Yeah, I've got the egg.
All right.
So I'm just going to add an egg in here. You can, and that egg is just going to bind this mixture together.
Okay,
so you don't need to use any breadcrumbs or anything like that.
Nice. So we're keeping this relatively clean by the looks of it. And I must just add, just because I love doing this and I love seeing this in this meal, you've got a great macro balance. We've got protein, we've got fats, we've got carbs. We've got the fat and good healthy fat coming through from the egg. Yeah. That's the egg yolk as well as the oil that we're going to be using here. You've got the carbs from the potato and the protein from the tuna. So you're ticking all Nature Boy's athletic boxes as well. So,
well, I'm very glad for that.
You're making us all happy here in the kitchen.
And then we're just going to add some oil into our frying pan. Okay. And then to portion, we're just going to take about 1 spoonful of mixture.
Okay. So when you mix this up, you didn't really need to let it set or anything. You can kind of just stir it up, mix it up, boom, ready to go.
So I'm just going to use my hands and just make them into like a little fish cake shape. And you can make these bigger if you want. So let's say if you want to make a burger or something like that.
Got you, I got you.
And then I'm going to put this into the oil.
It almost reminds me, I know in my younger days back at home in our family and the culture was all about what we called it frikadelles. Frikadelles, yeah. So this is very similar to that. I remember shaping some of these with my mom and making, taking slices of bread and cutting it into a circle to make a burger patty.
Oh.
Like full DIY on a burger.
Yeah.
So this is good. And it's smelling really good too. I'm getting a little bit of the coriander now coming from this. How are we doing on that side, Kashif? Are you getting something to do something?
Yeah.
Yes, I like it.
While I scoop, he can...
The hungry husband is now the cooking husband too. I love this.
So the thing with these is that as soon as they're brown on one side, you can flip them over, but don't turn them over too soon, otherwise they might end up breaking.
Okay. And exactly, I don't know if I misheard you, but how long do we kind of leave it in there for, or do we go by the eye?
Yeah, I think as soon as they're like nice and golden brown, because everything in here is cooked already. It's just the egg that needs to cook.
Oh, very true, of course.
So,
all of these, as they were put into the ingredient pot, we could have eaten them, right?
yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Let's see if we can flip that one. There we go.
Ah, that's...
Maybe just
And the sizzle and the flip is like the final step to the chef's welcome club. I love that. I hear the sizzle, I see the brown, you got the flip. Kashif, man, this is too easy for you. And is this it, guys? As simple as that?
This is basically it, and then he loves to have it with like a hot sauce or, you know, some type of chili sauce.
So you've already got the chilies in there, now you're adding the hot sauce too. I think Chef Clem is going to love you. Oh, if you were cooking with him, he just throws chilies in absolutely everything. So I think, yeah, you got his box stick there as well. You make every single presenter proud, except for G, I think, with the coriander. But no one can blame you for that. No one gets that one right. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. I would imagine the next step of this is just serving it on a plate.
Yeah, just pop it on the plate.
And becoming a belly-filled husband and no longer a hungry husband. I got to have a look at this. Oh, guys, it's looking absolutely delicious.
Good.
Yeah.
And there we are. Well, Kashif, Ilham, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
From the hungry husband himself, I cannot disappoint when it comes to making a recipe like this. And it looks easy enough for myself, even someone like Tabiso to do. So thank you so much for that, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, of course. And let's stick around and we find out what's happening with the latest in and around the world in our news.
Thank you so much, Raul. Coming to you just before the top of the hour. Let's start here in South Africa with our national news first. Religious groups of all faiths and backgrounds have, over the past week, taken turns to participate in joint prayers outside hospitals in Cape Town in a spiritual show of support as a second wave of infections wreaks havoc across the country. Each session is limited to 15 people with face masks and social distancing enforced. Further 344 COVID-19 related deaths were recorded last night in South Africa, bringing the total to 37,449. And with 9,010 new cases recorded, the total number currently stands at nearly 1.4 million. Then, staying in South Africa, there will be no load shedding today. Eskom suspended load shedding at 11 o'clock. That is 11 last night. Now, the power supplier said 2 generating units at the Kusile and the Kriel power stations and 1 at Tutuka had been reconnected to the network. It said that a further 2 units would probably be able to be connected to the network again later today. But Eskom added that the system remained vulnerable and unpredictable and called on the public to continue to use electricity sparingly. Casting a wider net on the international front, Russia's most prominent opposition leader and President Vladimir Putin's best-known domestic critic, Alexei Navalny, yesterday called for his supporters to take to the streets after a hastily organized court jailed him for 30 days. Navalny was arrested as he returned to Russia from Germany for the first time since he was poisoned with a nerve agent in August and then flown to Berlin in an induced coma. His arrest on Sunday drew widespread Western condemnation, with the United States, the European Union, the United Nations, France and Canada all calling for his release. Bringing it back to the African continent, Ugandans are celebrating the resumption of internet services after a shutdown was imposed ahead of last week's election. However, social media platforms remain blocked and are only accessible using virtual private networks. This as President Yoweri Museveni, who won an unprecedented 6th term in office, had accused the platforms of being biased. Meanwhile, the presidential candidate for the opposition National Unity platform, Bobby Wine, alleged the poll was marred by fraud and that the internet was shut down to prevent evidence of fraud being shared. And now, switching lanes for some news from the world of entertainment. International superstar, Grammy winner and actor Justin Timberlake has eventually confirmed the arrival of his and wife Jessica Biel's second son. Back in July, it was first reported that Timberlake and his 38-year-old actress spouse, who also have a 5-year-old son, Silas, together, welcomed their second child into the world. But it's only now that the 39-year-old singer has confirmed the new arrival. Appearing on the Ellen DeGeneres show, he spilled the news that the new arrival's name was Phineas, and he said he's awesome and so cute and nobody's sleeping, but that they're all thrilled and couldn't be happier. Meanwhile, Timberlake, who married Jessica back in 2012, has admitted watching his sons learn the smallest thing can bring him to tears, and admitted, "I'm a softy man. I've become a mess since I became a father. I can certainly relate." That's where we leave our news headlines for now. Let's touch on our sporting headlines. Well, the coronavirus and related shutdowns continue to wreak havoc in the world of sport. Rugby World Cup winning coach and the current SA Rugby Director of Rugby, Rassie Erasmus, says the Springboks will do whatever it takes to play the British and Irish Lions. The 8-match tour is currently in doubt due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. The British and Irish Lions tour is scheduled for July and August of this year. On to cycling here in South Africa. The 2021 Cape Town Cycle Tour has been postponed due to the coronavirus. A statement released by organisers yesterday confirmed that the tour will not take place in March and has now been moved to a later date in the year, but that new date for the cycle tour is yet to be confirmed. Organisers have asked that cyclists follow their social media channels for updates in the next few weeks. Then on to football. Finally, Monday Night Football saw Arsenal thrash Newcastle United 3-0 at the Emirates Stadium. That, of course, in the Premier League. 3 second-half goals, a brace by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and one by Bukayo Saka, securing the much-needed win for the Gunners. So Arsenal now move up one spot to 10th on the table, and Newcastle, they languish down in 15th place on the log, remaining without a win in 9 games in all competitions. And that's where we leave our sport for now. Let's take another look at the weather.
Thank you so much, Dee, for the news and sports updates. Let's get into the second look at your stunning sunrise pictures. So we love including you, our viewers, in our reports. How it works is we ask you to send us your sunrise photos from your part of the country on Expresso's Facebook page, and you could contribute to our weather report and we'll show it live on the show, such as Linda Macmillan, who sent us this orange skyline from Durban, where plenty of sunshine can be expected, reaching a maximum of 30 degrees. Sandra February posted this moody picture with the sun peeking through the clouds. The mother city, Cape Town, will experience a morning shower in spots, but otherwise not as warm with the sun and some clouds. Remember to share your sunrise photos with us on our Facebook page, Expresso's Facebook page that is, and we will show it live on the show. Limpopo, parts of Mpumalanga and KwaZulu-Natal will likely see an increase in rainfall from this weekend onwards due to tropical storm Eloise. Eloise is expected to make landfall in eastern Madagascar late this afternoon. The South African Weather Service says Eloise is likely to escalate to a severe tropical storm category, which would see winds exceeding 100 kilometers an hour. The storm is expected to move across the Mozambique Channel on Friday and could make landfall along the country's southern coastline between Beira and Vilenculos this weekend. Let's get into a more extensive look at the major parts of our beautiful country. Limpopo, Polokwane 17-27 are your temperatures for this Tuesday. Bombela, your temperatures range from 18, reaching a high of 29 degrees. Pretoria, you kick off your morning with a minimum of 17, reaching a maximum of 30. Johannesburg, the city of gold, 15-28 are your temperatures. Mahikeng, your temperatures range from 19, reaching a high of 31 degrees. It's a perfect summer's day in Klerksdorp with a maximum of 32 degrees and some showers in the afternoon. Kimberley follows suit with the same maximum of 32 degrees with 25% chance of rain forecast. Bloemfontein 19-31. Richards Bay, it's a mostly sunny day in your part of the country with a high of 31 degrees. Pietermaritzburg, also a summer's day. It's a sunny one with a maximum of 33 degrees. And Durban, South Africa's playground, 23, reaching a high of 30. Moving down in Mpumalanga, Mthatha 17, reaching a maximum of 36. It's going to be a scorching hot day, so make sure you stay hydrated and don't forget your sunblock. East London 19-30. Craddock coming through with the highest temperature in the country this Tuesday, reaching a maximum of 39 degrees. The friendly city of Port Elizabeth starts off the morning with a minimum of 18, reaching an afternoon high of 26 degrees. It's a rainy one in George in the Garden Route, 80% chance of rain is forecast with a low of 15, reaching a high of 22. Cape Town, the mother city, 42% chance of rain is forecast just to cool off from the heat of this past week. Worcester, you start off the morning with a low of 11, reaching a high of 31. The sun is out to play in Sutherland with a maximum of 28, and Uppington coming through with the second highest temperature in the country this Tuesday with a maximum of 38 degrees. This was your 7 o'clock weather roundup. We'll get into another extensive look at 8 o'clock. Whichever part of the country you're in, whatever the weather, whatever your plans are today, make sure to have yourselves a feel-good kind of day. But now let's see what's happening with social media.
Thank you so much, Koos. We're going to be talking about WhatsApp and a delay in their new privacy setting, but that just the whole conundrum around, I think a lot of people having our eyes open to just how much we give away in permissions on apps. But we put it to you guys, looking at the mass migration to Signal and Telegram, if you guys have made the move and how you've been finding it. And this is what you guys have had to say. Junior Motau Rapela saying, I'm staying with WhatsApp, smiley face, while testing Telegraph waters.
I think he meant Telegram, because Telegraph is like a British
I'm sending telegraphs. It's the safest way. I'm just sending Morse code. It's the safest way.
It is. Rita McDonald says, good morning, I still have my WhatsApp on, but I did switch to Telegram and Signal. They both seem to be very good. Everything is up to date for me, but it's more about the privacy protection for me. So,
I just can't escape the fact. I think Signal has better privacy, more transparency, let's say, but I think with any of these apps, you give away your private information regardless. Marona Tsapiso Tutupala saying, I downloaded Telegram, but my friends are still on WhatsApp, so Telegram is my spare wheel for now. I like that.
You don't want to be the person that doesn't have the cool apps, so you
just download them all.
Send me a link. Yeah. And then Wendy Brink says, I'm staying with WhatsApp. Okay. Some of my family went to Moya app because it is free. I've had Telegram, not my cup of tea, don't know Signal. I will stay where I am. So, yeah.
Well, in just a moment, we're going to be having a very important discussion about the delay of the implementation of those new criteria that are coming in with WhatsApp, something that you probably want to hear regardless of your thoughts on other platforms.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back as we rejoin a very important conversation that we started last week, of course, with our tech expert relating to, and that's Grant Hines, around the mass concern expressed around WhatsApp's new privacy policy. It's created a storm, and although the privacy policy update has been postponed from February the 8th to now May the 15th, we still need to have this conversation. Nicoline Skuman-Low, the managing director of Skuman Law Incorporated, joins us to give us a legal perspective this morning. Nicoline, a very good morning to you. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So, Nicoline, I've got to ask you first off the bat, this postponement, what exactly does it mean? And why is there even a new privacy policy by WhatsApp? So if you could first even explain that to us, for some of us that are clearly in the dark here.
Well, firstly, I think it's important for us to note that it is an indication, in my view, of the fact that there's a lot of debate going on, there's a lot of misinformation going on, and therefore the owners of WhatsApp have come to realize that users need more time, they perhaps need more clarity, and even more engagement is needed on the part of information regulators across the globe, including our own information regulators actually engaging with the Facebook group of companies as we speak to ensure that it is compliant with our local laws and regulations. So why do we need policies? Well, we need transparency. We need to know what is being collected from us, what is it being used for, and importantly, by whom.
I have a feeling that it's been a wake-up call. It's hit us so hard because we've now realized that so many of us have already been giving away critical information every time we sign onto any app, never mind Facebook or WhatsApp. Do we have, looking through a legal lens now, do we have a good reason to be concerned or as upset as we clearly are by the new policy? Can you explain the policy a little bit more? Just clarify exactly what it entails.
Well, the short answer to that question is yes and no. We have reason to be concerned and no. Firstly, I think it's a positive step in the right direction that we are seeing more transparency from these platforms and companies as to what they are collecting and what they are doing and what their business model truly entails. And then from an individual user perspective, it's up to you to decide whether this is acceptable to you. So in essence, we have to weigh convenience against privacy. So if you are going to take a very conservative approach regarding your data sharing and information sharing, be well advised that that would mean that your device would become, well, less user-friendly. There'll be a lesser degree of convenience, less integration, less cross-pollination. So it's a very important conversation for us to have in a broader context than just a messenger app.
All right. Maybe I'm going to just step in here and ask this question. What is the worst that can happen here? What is our data being used for? And should we be scared of it? Is it just purely being driven by advertising and designing and tailoring more advertising for us on Facebook? Why should we be scared of sharing this information?
Well, I think there's been a lot of debate around particularly social media platforms and to no exclusion of any of them in terms of the data that they are collecting, particularly user behavioral data. So it's not just a case of your name and phone number and your device. It's also a case of watching what engages you and ensuring that more of that is fed to your device. And that's a data collection motive across all these platforms. And I think the more awareness we are starting to have that we are actually the product that is being sold, because most of these companies' revenue model is based on their ability to reach people and to ensure or to give an assurance to marketers that if you use our platform, this is what we guarantee you will get as a return on your investment. And that is a very, very fine ethical line. So if we're talking about what specifically these policies entail, they are saying that they'll be collecting information such as your name, your phone number. Remember, when you download an app, it asks you for permissions to access certain components of your data on your device. For example, your GPS or location settings, your contact list, your photos. So these are all elements that are being collected, and whether or not they are being used perhaps in bad faith is something to be concerned about, because these policies give a framework of what we can do or what the company can do and not do, what it shares, how it shares it with third parties. Remember, Facebook as a member of the group of companies is not seen as a third party in this context. They are seen as part of the information sharing once this policy becomes binding on all of us. So it is definitely a consideration of being more vigilant and, of course, being more careful of what you are sharing with other users. It's a bigger conversation than just saying, what is the platform collecting from me? What are you sharing voluntarily with other users, which the platform says that they'll police and control? But we all know a breach is what triggers enforcement. So something bad, in simple terms, will need to happen before an action is taken if you have a breach of information that you possibly shared with another user. Now, message content is not being used by this platform. So your messages will remain encrypted end to end, but it's everything else. And I urge viewers to really have a look at this policy.
Wow.
I know it's an impossible question. Should we move or should we not move? I bet you're going to say the choice is up to us. But Nicolene, thank you so much. It's so good that we are casting a critical gaze onto this. And I think we need to be looking through that lens regardless with any app and what we are sharing.
Definitely. Well, yeah, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much.
No, we truly do, G. I think the amount of information that we're giving out to the world, we started to need to become so much more responsible with it, eh?
Completely. I think fortunately you still have some time though before you are forced to choose between accepting and then getting this new policy update, or maybe venturing into new waters with alternative apps like Signal, which seems to be the most transparent, or Telegram. Let's move on to more positive and exciting now news in the world of tech. This one is mind-blowing. Take a look.
Whatever app you use, you're going to need a brand new phone. And of course, the BISO is busy unboxing and unveiling the brand new Samsung Galaxy S21 series. And boy, oh boy, what a lineup it is. I have FOMO just watching him.
Who has no FOMO? I think at the beginning of each year, Mr. Yoon and the Samsung team just give us a whole lot of FOMO here in the studio. So Tabiso chatted up a storm, learning more about the S21 Ultra device with head of e-commerce and services, Kagiso Gawule. Let's check it out.
Take it from me, the Samsung Galaxy S21 series is the ultimate smartphone line that makes your everyday epic. To take your viewing and scrolling to new heights, Galaxy S21 and Galaxy S21 Plus feature intelligent displays. Plus, the Galaxy S21 series introduces the most advanced processor ever in a Galaxy device, so you can download quickly and game and stream seamlessly. I'm sure we all know now that the Galaxy S21 series is all about making your everyday epic. And let's find out what all of these features are that make this series so exceptional. Kagiso, you've put in so much work and so much heart. Look at that smile. The day has finally arrived.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Unpacked day. Happy New Year. Happy new Galaxy.
Ah, man. You've already mentioned, and we can all agree, that the S21 series is all about making everyday epic. Let's talk about the features that do that.
You've got that iconic design. That's the first thing that you see. The camera housing has been smoothed out, merged into the body of the camera. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. It's a stunner. But under that beautiful camera is probably the most powerful video experience we've ever brought to a smartphone. We're talking about pro-grade cameras in your hands. So we've taken away that decision making of taking a video or taking a photo. Now you just start shooting, and later on you can just pick out your favorite scenes from there.
With Galaxy S21 and Galaxy S21 Plus, you get a triple-lens pro-grade camera system built for every user, so anyone can capture amazing shots. Simply point, shoot, and let Galaxy's S21 AI-enhanced functionality do the rest. No matter which approach you take, you can capture, edit, and share stunning videos and photos from every perspective, even in low light, with unbelievable ease. From touching moments to the fast-paced action, record what matters most from any distance and any angle in steady, stunning 8K video. Well, last year you came out with the Galaxy Buds and the Galaxy Buds Live, which, as you can see, I can't live without. And I can't think of how much more you could do to make them extra special.
Buds Live was just a phenomenal product. Consumers loved it. But with the Buds Pro, we're taking it to another level. We've upped the ante in terms of anti-noise cancelling, and also the soundstage is just much bigger. The basses are richer. It really feels like you're playing music in a room.
You got my appetite buzzing, Kagiso, and I'm sure everybody else out there is wondering when they can sort out the itch on their hands and get their hands on these devices.
Well, fortunately, they don't have to wait any longer. 5th of February, they'll be in stores, and on the 26th of January, the pre-orders will be fulfilled.
Well, Kagiso, you know that when it comes to Samsung devices, I like to always be on top of the game. I've got my S20 here. But you know, I want to find out about trading in. Can I trade it in? How do I do that? And where do I trade in?
Bring us the phone you have, and we'll get you the Galaxy S21 that you love. So I know, you probably have many phones at home, and what you can do with our stacked trade-in program is bring all of them and trade them in for one payment that you can use to offset your purchase of your new Galaxy S21. So we make it really easier to afford your new Galaxy.
Well, that's for everyone else out there. As for me, I'll just pick and choose over here. The Galaxy S21 is all about those epic experiences, but it's all about connected living as well. I'm talking the ability to connect and experience your wearables, your TVs, as well as your appliances. It really is all about making your everyday epic so that you're able to capture and create some amazing memories and experiences. But there's also something for everyone.
I am currently drooling over that Lilac S21 Ultra. Stay tuned and don't go anywhere because there's so much more to learn about this S21 Ultra range.
And of course, Matthew Mole will be joining us in just a little bit, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you after this.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
South African singer, songwriter, and six-time SAMA nominee Matthew Mole is known for his very unique sound of folk music blended with electronic undertones and, of course, a little bit of blues. The 29-year-old is a performing artist who's graced stages and festivals across South Africa and, in fact, across the globe, from the United States through to the United Kingdom. He has even hit Thailand, Russia. He is loved across the world, and he's certainly loved in our studio. And the chart-topping singer released his new track, Let Me, which is a fan collaboration, in December of last year. Let's take a quick look.
My always, forever, the light in the dark, and I found it, the treasure, your beautiful heart, and with every piece of mine, I love you more than life. And you see it, you show it, the look in your eyes says that you called it, you know it, the truth in my lies, because you know me better now than I think I know myself. And let me love you, all I want from you, and we are stronger, hold on for longer.
Please welcome to the show via video call, Matthew Mole, all the way in Jersey. Matt, so good to see you, my friend. How are you?
How's it going? Hey, thank you. Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. I mean, this is a first for me. I've never done this before where we're live on Zoom. So yeah, this is awesome. But yeah, I'm good. Thank you so much for letting me join you guys.
Absolutely, so good to have you with us. Happy 2021, by the way. I mean, after a difficult 2020 for so many of us, what was your holidays like, last December? Do you have any special holiday traditions you'd like to share with us this morning?
Totally. So I actually was down in Cape Town, so I could have seen you guys, but in person. But so that's where my family is. They're based in Cape Town, and every 2 years, myself and my wife will go down to Cape Town, spend time with them, and then the whole family from my side gets together, and we spend Christmas together. So yeah, we were down there for some of that. I mean, I was supposed to be on tour in December. That's only the plan. And then this year, things kind of started opening up, but then we decided to cancel all of those shows. So then I basically just got to spend the time with my family, and then eventually I worked the time into writing new songs and just trying to be productive. And if I wasn't touring, I wanted to do something musical. So yeah, I've just been being as creative as I can be.
I think that's a sentiment echoed by so many artists that we've caught up with over this time. Never has there been so much writing going on of music. I think everyone's been very introspective. You took the time in December to release the track Let Me, which was a collaboration with the fans, which is a cool way to approach us. Can you tell us a bit more about this project?
So Let Me was a song, or is a song, from my newest album. It's my third album. It's called Ghost. And the album's been out for just over a year now. It's about a year. And that was kind of the song that I realized was resonating with people when I played it live, and like on the YouTube video and online, you can get a good gauge of which songs people are resonating with the most. And that was the one that I thought, like, I'd love to do a version where people are more involved, obviously, and it's not just a video of me playing the song. So the idea was to originally just to kind of do like a live version of me performing the song, and then I was going to get people to send me videos of them dancing along or like singing, and then I was just going to edit little clips into a video where it was really just me and then clips of other people that were involved. But then when I got all these videos from people, most of them were like, you'll see in the fan collab video where there's like a girl playing the cello or the violin, there was someone playing a harp, and there were like hundreds of people with amazing voices. So I thought, like, it had to be something way more than just a video of me with clips of other people. So it became more of a collaboration as I got the videos in and saw how amazing all these people were at playing instruments and at singing. So yeah, it was really such a cool project that came together over like such a short space of time because of how amazing all these followers are.
Did you have to split the royalties with?
Yeah, well, I guess we'll get into that discussion with the legal.
Don't put the pressure on Matthew this morning. I want to bring it back to 2021 now. We are putting out the energy for this year. Do you have any New Year's resolutions? Do you have a mantra that you're sticking by? And maybe have you been sticking to them already in the weeks that we've been into 2021?
Not really. I do. I'll tell you one or two, but I always kind of, like everyone else, you sort of like fizzle out after, like, by February. But something I did learn from all the lockdown periods was, like, I always thought running was a boring thing to do. Like, I wanted to do other workouts, something like boxing training or something that was fun. I thought running was boring, but then I got into it during the lockdown when it was allowed, and I love it. It's amazing what it's done for me mentally, and how it's helped me create a routine in the morning. It's been something that, like, I'm so thankful for from this whole lockdown stuff, that it's something I've worked into, like a new routine that I've figured out that I want to try and stick to as much as possible for this year, and then see how that changes things mentally and productively and creatively.
2021, much as we thought that I think it was going to be like new year, new start, everything would be fine again, but obviously it's been very much a continuation of our reality from last year. Does this make it difficult to plan? Like, how do you, from a professional side, plan what you're going to do? You've shelved your tour. Do you start potentially marking dates where you could tour again? Are you going to say, okay, well, then maybe I must just focus on new material? What are the plans for 2021? Can you plan?
Yeah, that's such a good question, because I guess every single person almost in the whole world is like in a pretty much the same scenario. So, I mean, in terms of touring, it's very difficult because in South Africa, we're not 100% sure when that's going to be allowed again. I was supposed to be in Europe in September last year, but we obviously moved that. So now I've got 3 potential periods that I might go to Europe depending on what happens. So there's like a first prize that'll happen if things open up in Europe enough. If that doesn't happen, then we're going to go with option B, which will be like 6 months later. And then if that doesn't happen, then it's like a whole year later. So that's kind of the way we've looked at touring in Europe, but also in South Africa, we're going to have to plan that way as well. Routine is something that I've never really been able to have as much as I can now. So that's why exactly, yeah. So the whole exercising thing has helped me for this, at least for as long as we are restricted, or as long as the live industry is restricted this year. I've got that routine so that I'm able to block out like almost every day hours of time that I'm going to be working on new music, so that's not all I'm doing. I'm also using the time to try and plan the live stuff and to try and plan other ways of being creative, other ways of engaging with like people. So like you say, it's very difficult to plan, but we're trying to figure out those ways of having like different checkpoints that we'll try and move over to if we can't reach the first one.
Hey man, and we've learned to be adaptable. What I think you need to do is you have the vaccine tour and you just follow the vaccine as it goes around the world and you celebrate with those nations. But I know we will get to the finish line, my friend. I'm so glad that you've been able to still stretch those creative muscles through everything that's going on and stretch your real muscles, and that you found this level of exercise. I hope that it keeps you sane, because we've still got a few hard yards to get through, but always such a pleasure to connect with you, man.
Oh man, it's an honor to spend time with you guys. Thank you for letting me join you even over Zoom like this. It's also been such a new experience. I love this, and it's nice to see your faces as well.
You weren't bad. You weren't too bad as a Zoom first timer, buddy. Your framing was good.
Thanks.
No, you were on it. But so good to connect with you.
Absolutely. Once again, a massive thank you to singer-songwriter Matthew Mole for taking the time to chat to us this morning. Matthew, we wish you all of the best for the year ahead, and we can't wait to hear your new music.
Thank you so much to G and Jamie for bringing all the feel-goodness with the talented Matthew Moore. What a pleasure it was to catch up with such a humble and talented soul.
Yeah, it is indeed such an incredible feat to get your fans to be involved in your music. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, here is that also compilation of Let Me. Enjoy.
The light in the dark, and I found it, the treasure, your beautiful heart, and with every piece of mine, I love you more than life. And you see it, you show it, the look in your eyes says that you called it, you know it, the truth in my lies, because you know me better now than I think I know myself. And let me love you, all I want from you, and we are stronger. Hold on for longer, and let me love you. All I want from you, and we are stronger. Hold on for longer. something, never look behind. It's you and I forever, you and I, we're part of something, never look behind. It's you and I forever, you and I, we're part of something, never look behind. It's you and I forever, you and I, we're part of something, never look behind. It's you and I forever. I want from you, here we are, stronger, hold on for longer. Let me love you, all I want from you, here we are, stronger, hold on for longer.
Oh, absolute magic. That is a true fan compilation. And I think every single person that was a part of that video feels exactly as special as they looked. And I absolutely can't encourage you more to get involved with these incredible collabs. And Matthew Mole, well done, brother. Well done for including Mzansi. Absolutely love it.
Are you ready for a sizzling summer holiday in Mzansi? Your best holiday is yet to come when you book at any participating Marriott branded hotel. Redefine your holiday with a beach break, nature retreat, or a road trip adventure. With the Marriott Summer Holiday offer, you can enjoy 25% off standard hotel rates, including free breakfast if you're a Marriott Bonvoy member and 15% if you're a non-Bonvoy member. Book on Marriott.com for the best rates guaranteed.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Molweni, this is your feel-good breakfast show, Expresso, up on SABC3. Ukuba nyaqala ufika ngoku, well, you are in for a treat.
We've really enjoyed learning all there is to know about the recently unveiled Samsung Galaxy S21 series this morning. 2 devices down, 1 to go. Daviso is now going to shed some light on their S21 Ultra. Let's take a look.
What a thrilling time we've had exploring the Galaxy S21 and S21 Plus. But what about this one, the S21 Ultra? The device that pulls out all the stops to give everyone who's looking for the best of the best exactly what they want. The Galaxy S21 comes in 3 models depending on your lifestyle or feature needs, or a combination of both. You get the S21, the S21 Plus, and the S21 Ultra. If you're someone looking for those Galaxy flagship features, then you really are going to love the S21 and the S21 Plus. But if you are the type of person that's looking for cutting-edge technology and really always wants to be a step ahead, then the S21 Ultra is the device for you. But all of them are made to make sure that they capture your everyday and make your everyday epic. The S21 Ultra is equipped with the most advanced technology. With just one click, you can capture stunning studio quality images thanks to the advanced 108 megapixel camera. It is the most advanced you will get in a smartphone. And you can shoot and edit videos like a pro with its quad camera, which includes ultra-wide and wide lenses, as well as dual zoom lenses, one optical 3 times and one optical 10 times. Plus, the S21 Ultra brings clarity and stability to photos with the most advanced on-device AI. The camera system is the best that you will get in a smartphone. And so whether you are a vlogger or an aspiring videographer, you're going to find that the AI system that they have brought onto this device really does take it to a whole new level. Now, for the very first time, Samsung has brought the S Pen experience to the S series. So you can now use your Galaxy S21 Ultra with an S Pen to spontaneously jot down notes, edit photos, or sketch out ideas precisely. What a beauty. The Galaxy S21 series comes in a striking all-new design. What you'll notice is that the camera has been seamlessly designed and integrated into the frame of the device. It gives it a nice, sophisticated look. There's nothing not to love about the S21.
A little bit blown away. I mean, I tuned in for the launch online, which was pretty cool. But there's so many things. I'm going to need a couple of weeks to like fully unpack.
No, definitely.
I think the video and photo function, what you can do, the resolution is just insane. Just the look of it.
The look, the finishing is fantastic. I'm still obsessed with my S20 Plus. I know that you have.
I've got the Ultra. And this has been like, I do all my work. I seldom touch my laptop anymore, but what I really like with the new Ultra is being able to introduce the S Pen.
That's true, and also just the finishing, the colors that come with the range is absolutely stunning.
Beautiful.
Hopefully, crossing fingers, but I hope that you also have learned a little thing or two about the new S21 Ultra range.
Thank you so much for that, guys. But it is still summertime, and it's time for the perfect summer pudding using only 4 ingredients. It is, of course, our Clover Classic Summer Experience. And who better to make it than Raul de Mornay?
Yes.
Because does it not scream flavor? Does it not scream creamy? Does it not scream everything you want to tick off for a summer pudding?
Indeed it does. You scream, I scream, we all scream for my pudding. Nah, it didn't work. All right, so it's very simple. 4 ingredients, as you heard, and you can do so much with it. You can get creative, you can switch it up, you can add your own flavor to it, but we're going to stick to the norm for now, go through the whole process, and then you guys can critique us and let us know how we did. All right.
Is it me, or did the foodies team actually stick with the theme of red? Because it is Valentine's Day coming up, so Valentine's is coming.
I see, okay.
Where's your pudding?
I see where you're going with this. So everyone, Valentine's Day dates coming up. I know the social medias were going crazy with all the online dating that's been happening and the love that's been created from it. So this is a great dessert that you can spoil your loved one with. So starting off, I've got a cream. That's going to be my base. I'm going to bring this thing to life. This is what really turns it into a dessert. And what I'm going to mix with this is literally just 1 cup of the good stuff. We've got 250 mils of our hero ingredient, the classic. Ooh, it's a classic strawberry flavor. It's yogurt. It's full of minerals, of course, 10 minerals and more to be exact. So you know you've got the Nature Way boxes ticked here. We'll be coming through on that half as well. All right, so let me close that up. Very, very simple after this. I'm going to put that down there. And now we just kind of whisk it up. So stirring this together, mixing it up, getting that strawberry to kind of just dance with the cream, just like you hopefully would on your date. And we're causing a beautiful fusion out of this. All right, so once this is done, now we're going to get to the fun stuff. So now we're going to get to the garnish and get all to the good stuff. And this is where you can definitely be creative. So what I like to do is kind of, I've taken a lot of advice from Nicole Snelling. She's been teaching me and taking her under her wing for quite a while now.
I'm so proud. Thank you,
Nicole, shout out to you.
All of us. Just thank you so much for taking me under your wing.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to decorate this. So I'm going to prepare my glass so that I can serve it quite nicely. All right. So pay attention to the beautiful cut that I
Did you teach you this, or you?
No. I'm just rolling with it. I'm feeling the momentum that she's given me. So what I'm going to do is, okay, I've got got these little strawberries, which I'm going to actually line up along the edge of the glass. Okay, so here's the example. Got one of these over here, and I'm literally going to line it up on the edge of the glass, and I'm going to decorate this thing. Okay, why are you smiling like that?
I'm just rolling with it. Like,
are you impressed? Okay, not a lot of us like the little green, so I'll cut that off. And now I can grab myself a couple slices just from one strawberry alone. All right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to finish off the garnish. I'm going to go a bit more rustic with mine. I don't have a lot of time here. Normally you place them on the edges and it looks all neat, but I like that rustic look. All right, so while we're busy with this, let me talk about strawberries, because obviously it's not just a good-looking fruit. The reason why we add this, it also has some functional value. So high in vitamins, one of those being vitamin C, which you all know right now has been like a hot topic talk. Vitamin C helps the immune system, it helps us with any sickness, and helps fight the flu and anything else that we need to defeat and get our bodies healthy. All right, so let me do one more, just to kind of give it some more color and flavor.
And here's the thing with this recipe as well, you can play around with the fruits that you want to use.
Yeah.
If you were to use a different Clover Classic yogurt, you could maybe incorporate some mangoes, some lychees, play around with it this summer.
What would you use if you didn't use strawberries?
I would.
What's your favorite?
Mangoes. I
really?
would use mangoes, I'd use bananas.
You know I love mangoes, eh?
Do you?
My saying for mangoes, mangoes, mangoes. Wherever a woman goes, a mangoes.
Oh, wow! Look at that!
I love it. Okay, so guys, now that we lined up my dish, I've got my beautiful cream fusion here with the Clover Bliss. It's perfectly balanced out my yogurt, and now I'm going to place it into my well-decorated, garnished glass over here.
We just want to turn that over to the front so that everyone can see what we're using.
Oh,
so
yes,
just
of course. So let me just grab that.
There we
Here
go.
ingredient, and you guys can see what I do now. Just have a lot of fun with this. I'm going to switch it up. So what you guys can see, the end product here looks really cool. The way they've decorated it, they've got the strawberries at the base. I like to kind of create some layers with mine. All right. So check this out. Here's where it gets really interesting. Okay. So what I'm going to do is create a second level. Yeah,
Nicole did not teach him this, everybody.
She did it.
This
I
is
told
all
you.
on his-
I'm taking her skills and I'm running with it. Okay, so we're creating a strawberry layer. So what I have in theory for this is the fact that you start eating, you finish that layer, and you hit the bottom, and you're like, oh no, it's finished. Meanwhile, it's a strawberry. Second round, right at you. So it's like 2 desserts in one, Jamie. How can you
Picture this
complain?
as well, it being frozen. So then when you do like go in there, you bite it, it has this burst of flavor.
Ooh, now we're talking. Now we're talking. Okay, Nicole Snelling, you need to get some tips from us.
Okay, let's not play around now. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Let's stay humble.
Okay, so I think I am done. So what I'm going to do is just top it up slightly. We're finishing off with a nice little garnish, a little strawberry here, strawberry there, and then I brought some blackberries. These things are absolutely incredible. High in free radicals, in antioxidants as well, so that's going to help with the free radicals. And of course, high in vitamin K. That's what's helping you from...
Vitamin K?
Yeah, so if you didn't have vitamin K in your body and you cut yourself, you'd literally just bleed out. So vitamin K helps coagulate and helps that blood to actually clot. So another practical ingredient, and 3, 2, 1, voila. Dessert is served. Let me know how this date has been for you, Jamie. Do I tick the boxes?
You tick off all the boxes. I think you might have missed a few steps. Maybe you've missed a few steps in here. Here's a quick recap.
Made with love by Clover.
So, we've had classic fashion from Timby, classic cars, thanks Chad, and we've seen classic hairstyles. And you, Michael? Classic!
The classic range from Clover. Timeless taste.
Made with love by Clover.
Here's to you. Can't work from home workers. Board Terminator. Cause every meeting key, I'll be back. The mask for getting shoppers. And you, who go the extra mile instead of keeping just 1.5 meters. To you who opened your doors again, we take our hats off. Nina, who kept us moving, 100%. And of course, there no mayini general dealers. You might not be essential workers, Mara, you too played an essential role in keeping Mzansi working. And that's why we're giving you a chance to win your share of 5 million rand. Join Nedbank today.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. You're still locked in at your Feel Good Breakfast Show. And now the COVID-19 pandemic has put a strain on our hospitals and the ability to supply oxygen to the patients that truly do need it. And now, more than ever, with the severity of the second wave, hospitals are truly feeling the pressure.
But thanks to the humanitarian work of the Gift of the Givers and various other stakeholders, hundreds of oxygen machines, a tool that has become essential in helping patients to breathe, have been donated to hospitals across the country. This being a result of the South African National Ventilator Project announced last year to develop non-invasive equipment to help in the current crisis. 12,000 oxygen machines are being distributed in total. That's a fantastic amount.
Yeah, now the founder of the Gift of the Givers Foundation, Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman, is joining us this morning to tell us more. Doc, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure having you on the show, Doc. I mean, these CPAP machines couldn't have come at a more appropriate time. How do these machines suit the needs of the current situation?
You're right, they couldn't have come at a better time. The second wave, we've been seeing a huge amount of oxygen requirement. But oxygen itself cannot be delivered without a machine. And you have different types of oxygen machines. We have the oxygen concentrators. We just use a normal air to convert into 95% oxygen. Then you have the nasal flow, nasal prongs. You have non-rebreather masks. And then you have the CPAP machines, all in levels of development. And of course, the high flow nasal oxygen machines, and eventually the ventilator. But when you get to the ventilator stage, that's really, really critical. And many people, unfortunately, don't survive the ventilator stage. So the aim is to give high doses of oxygen early without using too much of oxygen. Sounds paradoxical. High doses of oxygen without using too much oxygen. Give it early and try to prevent people from getting to the ventilator stage. Now, this CPAP machine, designed in South Africa by the South African Ventilatory Group and the South African Astronomy Observatory Group, funded by, sanctioned by the Department of Trade and Industry, produced by the CSIR, approved by SATRA and funded by Solidarity, is a combination of pure South African technology. The advantage of this machine is it can work as low flow as well as intermediate flow. And because it has high pressure, you can actually deliver oxygen at a lower flow rate. So in other words, a high flow machine takes 60 liters of oxygen per minute, to achieve sometimes the same purpose that this machine may do at 10 or 20 liters per minute. Not exactly the same, but in comparison, that's the kind of feedback we're getting from different hospitals. At a time when oxygen is so difficult, because remember, prior to COVID-19, the oxygen requirements in all hospitals could be worked out weeks in advance, the companies could deliver. Now suddenly, we have an influx of patients, all needing oxygen, all hitting different hospitals at the same time, and it requires special types of delivery vehicles to deliver this oxygen. You can't put it in the back of a truck or a van and deliver. It requires special tankers, and you run short of those kind of stuff. So a machine that saves oxygen, yet uses oxygen, is life-saving. And the reality is that oxygen is life-saving here, so this machine is going to come at a better time.
That's true.
Now, Doc, I listening to you now, you mentioned obviously how so many stakeholders were involved in these 12,000 somewhat machines, and you explained that quite nicely. So I've got to ask you, now that they're in development and they are being used, what has the feedback been from the actual frontline workers? You mentioned the hospitals themselves, but do you know what frontline workers are actually saying about it?
Yes, I mean, when I say hospitals, I refer to the frontline workers, and we've been getting fantastic messages. First of all, they said it's a very simple device to use. They said it doesn't intimidate nurses. It doesn't use electricity, by the way. You know, you just connect it to an oxygen source, so the machine itself doesn't use electricity. It's mechanical, it's not electronic, which is a huge advantage in Africa and in South African situation, especially in the rural areas. And the feedback we've been getting from many, let's start off with the first feedback that we got from the CEO of Kala Hospital. Kala is a hospital in the Eastern Cape. And the CEO sent a message on a Monday morning 3 weeks ago. And he said, every Monday morning, me and my nursing staff, we get together and we count the number of dead that have arrived over the weekend. Wow. This is the first morning there is no dead. Everybody on the CPAP machine survived. This is the greatest thing that has happened to us. Wow. That's a public hospital. I get a message from Gateway, a private hospital, to a vascular surgeon, a friend of mine, a member of my team. She says, Doc, as I walk through the wards, every nurse stops me and says, thank you for these machines. These machines are now saving lives. A cardiologist from the same hospital came on the phone. He was sobbing. He couldn't speak, he cut the call. He sent me a voice note. He says, we've been seeing so much of death and so much of dying. I can't believe these machines have come. And for those people who give you the machines, you gave it for free, even to our private hospital. We can't salute you enough, and those people who made the machines and gave it for free. Thank everyone. We are saving lives now. And that's the kind of sentiments coming from everywhere. It's every hospital, public and private, saying, you know what, these oxygens, these machines are saving lives. We needed them a long time ago.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for coming on the show and sharing such great feedback, because the reality is the status of the hospitals in our country in this pandemic is scary, and those messages from the different doctors about counting the number of dead bodies, but now how this machine has helped them overcome those challenges is honestly heartwarming. So to you and your team and
Can I make one more point? Sorry, one more point. I need to make one more point.
Yes, sure, go for it.
A doctor from one of the hospitals made the most amazing statement ever. You know, the nurses, the doctors have been demoralized. In the last few weeks, we've lost so many healthcare workers. In Durban alone, 3 days ago, we lost 8 doctors in 2 days.
Wow.
You know, and what that kind of sentiment, one of the doctors in Eastern Cape said, with these machines, COVID-19, you can come. We're ready for you.
Oh, wow, Doc, once again, we can't thank you enough. Thank you for your time in the show and for being a part of what I feel is like such a welcomed invitation to trying to combat this COVID-19 pandemic that we're dealing with. And the timing is absolutely perfect. I think we can't do without any more of these. So thank you so much, Doc.
Pleasure. Thank you very much for the invite.
What an incredible year. That's such a good story. I'm literally smiling thinking about how well this is going to work in our country. The fact that it doesn't use electricity, the fact that it's serving the nation. COVID-19, I think we're ready to combat this.
Yes, please. So please head on over to their website, giftofthegivers.org. That's giftofthegivers.org. Because I'm sure they're also experiencing some shortcomings, and they do welcome public support as well. So make sure to head on over to see the progress of these machines on their website. But right now, it seems like we've hit the top of the hour, exactly 8 o'clock. It's time to have a look at the news headlines.
Thanks so much, guys. Let's start here in South Africa with our national news first. The City of Cape Town's James Voss has asked the national government to reconsider the current lockdown regulations. He said by extending the curfew by 2 hours, in other words, from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m., would help give businesses and the local economy a boost to remain viable and save jobs. He said the local economy was dependent on the food and beverage, manufacturing, hospitality and retail sectors for jobs, especially. Many businesses are battling to stay afloat, leaving them with no option but to close their doors due to the reduced trading hours. Staying on topic, religious groups of all faiths and backgrounds have over the past week taken turns to participate in joint prayers outside hospitals in Cape Town in a spiritual show of support as the second wave of infections wreaks havoc across the country. Each session is limited to 15 people with face masks and social distancing being enforced. A further 344 COVID-19 related deaths were reported just last night in South Africa, bringing the total to 37,449. And with 9,010 new cases recorded, the total number currently stands nearly at 1.4 million. On the international news front, schools have reopened in Nigeria despite concerns about rising cases of COVID-19. The academic calendar has been staggered after schools were closed for more than 6 months last year due to the pandemic. Lawmakers had earlier asked the federal government to postpone the planned reopening of schools by 3 months because of the rising number of coronavirus cases. University students also resumed face-to-face learning yesterday after being at home for nearly a year due to a strike by lecturers. Then further afield, Russia's most prominent opposition leader and President Vladimir Putin's best-known domestic critic, Alexei Navalny, yesterday called for his supporters to take to the streets after a hastily convened court jailed him for 30 days. Navalny was arrested as he returned to Russia from Germany for the first time since he was poisoned with a nerve agent in August and then flown to Berlin in an induced coma. His arrest on Sunday drew widespread Western condemnation. The United States, the European Union, United Nations, France and Canada all calling for his release. And now news of a train and a blast-off that's of its horn and a red-faced scrum half from South Africa. So before we move on to the sports news, the real sports news, let's hear how red-faced former UCT Western Province and Lions rugby scrum half Nick Groom was after mistaking a passing train's horn for a half-time hooter. That was during Edinburgh's clash with Glasgow Warriors over the weekend. So he booted the ball out of bounds with some 30 seconds remaining in the first half of Edinburgh's 23-22 defeat to Glasgow. His rather stern coach, Richard Cockrell, wasn't the least impressed and spoke in a low growl. He thought the train's horn was the half-time horn. He's used to that in the Southern Hemisphere, despite being here a couple of years. Edinburgh were 10-6 ahead when Groom's blooper occurred, and Glasgow then profited from the auditory error, putting over a penalty to cut the half-time deficit to 10-9. And then the Glasgow lads hung in there, eventually winning by a single point, 23-22. Well, Groom's amazing blooper has everyone in Scottish rugger circles chuckling. I think it's going to take him a while to live this one down. Well, you can laugh yourself at that one as we go into our actual sporting headlines. Well, in fact, we start with rugby news. World Cup winning coach and the current SA Rugby Director of Rugby, Rassie Erasmus, says the Springboks will do whatever it takes to play the British and Irish Lions. The 8-match tour is currently in doubt now due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. The British and Irish Lions tour was scheduled originally for July and August this year. Staying with more complications resulting from the coronavirus in cycling, the 2021 Cape Town Cycle Tour has been postponed due to the coronavirus. A statement released by organisers yesterday confirmed that the tour will not take place in March and has now been moved to a later date in the year. The new date for the cycle tour is yet to be confirmed, though. Organisers have asked cyclists to follow their social media channels for updates over the next few weeks. Then finally onto football. That did actually happen. Monday Night Football saw Arsenal thrash Newcastle United 3-0 at the Emirates Stadium in the Premier League. 3 second-half goals, a brace by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and one by Bukayo Saka, securing the much-needed win for the Gunners. That means Arsenal now move up 1 spot to 10th place on the table. Newcastle languishing in 15th place, and they remain without a win now in 9 games in all competitions. Well, that's a wrap of your sport for this Tuesday morning. Let's take one last look at your beautiful sunrise pictures and the weather.
Thank you so much, G, for the sports and news update. Let's get into the final look at your stunning sunrise pictures. But first, let's recap some of them, actually. Josephine Pickstone posted the sunrise photo from Noordhoek, where a mild day is expected with a maximum of 23 degrees Celsius. Nick Lombard sent this picturesque image through from the Northern Cape, where you can expect a warm day reaching 28 degrees. Linda Macmillan captured this orange skyline in Durban, where a pleasant day is expected with plenty of sunshine. And lastly, Sandra February posted this dark skyline showing off the sun peeking through the winds of a bird taking flight. Cape Town, you can expect a possibility of morning showers in spots with a cool maximum of 23 degrees. Thank you so much for your stunning sunrise pictures. If you would like to be a part of our sunrise segment, it's very simple. Head on over to Expresso Facebook page and show us what your part of the country looks like as you start your day, and we will show it live on the show. Let's get into some environmental news. After years of drought and massive fires last year, farmers in the northwestern part of the Free State experienced widespread flooding in the first weeks of 2021. Heavy rains triggered flooding, with some farmers losing crops and equipment. And while several farmers welcomed the rain, the flooding destroyed some maize plantations in the area. Tropical storm Charlene, which moved in from Madagascar, contributed to the massive amounts of rain that fell in the province, as well as in the Northern Cape and Northwest. More than 450 millimeters fell since shortly before Christmas between Bultfontein, Hoopstad and Wesselsbron in the Free State. The Free State's Gariep Dam, which has the largest storage capacity in South Africa, was 99% full last week compared to 65% a year ago. Let's get into the final look at the temperatures for the rest of our country. Siqale Limpopo, Polokwane, it's a partly cloudy day with a low of 17, reaching a high of 27. It's a mostly sunny one in Bombela with a high of 29 degrees. Pietermaritzburg, or Pretoria rather, we're still in Gauteng, 17 is your low, reaching a high of 30 degrees. Jozi Maboneng, your temperatures range from 15, reaching a high of 28. Mahikeng, your peak for the day is 31 degrees. Klerksdorp, you're going to be enjoying a mostly sunny Tuesday with a maximum of 32 and showers in the afternoon. And Kimberley, you kick off your morning with a low of 20, reaching a high of 32 degrees with 25% chance of rain forecast. Bloemfontein, it's a mostly sunny day, peaking at 31 degrees. Now we're in KZN in Richards Bay, 22 is your low, reaching a high of 31. Pietermaritzburg, it's a sunny day with a maximum temperature of 33 degrees. Durban, South Africa's playground, stay hydrated because you're also enjoying a perfect summer's day with a maximum of 30 degrees. Down to the Eastern Cape and Bumakoloni, 17 is your low, reaching a scorching 36 degrees. Monti, East London, 1930. Cradock, it's a sunny day with the highest temperature in the country this Tuesday, reaching a high of 39 degrees. Port Elizabeth, the Freilly City, 1826. Some rain in George, 80% chance of rain is forecast for this Tuesday. And Cape Town, the rain continues in your part of the country with 42% chance of rain forecast. Worcester, 1131. It's a sunny day out in Sutherland with a maximum of 28. And Uppington coming through with the second highest temperature in the country. That's a maximum of 38 degrees. This was the final look at your stunning sunrise pictures and the temperatures from the rest of the country. Mamela, noba upi. Noba isimo sezulu sithini. Ndicela ube nemini emnandi. But okwangoku, let's see what's happening in the social media streets. Ral and Jamie, what's happening?
What's happening?
It's a hot girl summer. Hot girl summer. That's all I want to sing after listening to all those temperatures.
It's looking good in Mzansi, indeed it is. Now, we've got so much cool stuff coming on the show still. We've got some health advice. We've got that special little insert happening with the presenters later, which I'm not going to give any secrets about. But before we even get into it, we're chatting to you, beautiful souls, Mzansi. And everywhere across the world, you are tuning in. And one of those is our YouTube channel, of course. And we've got a beautiful comment or comments coming in about the show, about the cooking. But we want to talk about Natalie coming through with a beautiful one, yeah.
She's sweet. She says, sweet good morning, Expresso show. I am tuning in all the way from Sun City. I can't miss my best show, even on holiday. You're on holiday, girl? Live your best life. Lots of love, and that is from Natalie. Natalie, we see you, girl. We see you on the YouTube streets, and we just want to send love all the way to you in Sun City. Enjoy and live your best life.
Welcome back. You are live with Expresso. Thank you so much for keeping it locked as South Africa continues to face a relentless surge of COVID-19 infections. Many of us have more questions than answers on our minds, certainly on the new variants and the vaccine that will hopefully be making its way to the country sooner rather than later after an overwhelming response from all of you on our social media platforms and, of course, telephonically last week. As we had our COVID-19 discussion, we decided to bring on another medical doctor and a public health medicine specialist, Dr. Karen Begg, to answer some more of your questions on the coronavirus. And please, we want you to ask anything this morning. We've got a fantastic resource here with us. If you've got any questions, 021 110 5552 is the number to dial. Hopefully you've got that number on speed dial this morning. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us. I know it can be quite daunting to have to speak to the nation about this. We can understand what our president goes through every so often, but there are so many questions now because we've had a new variant. We've obviously had talk of the vaccine. We've seen it being rolled out in other parts of the country. Which vaccine are we going to get? Are they going to be able to roll it out? There are so many burning questions. So thank you so much for joining us. Maybe I can kickstart it. Give us an update on where we are right now. How many people are currently infected as we move through our second wave? And are we seeing a shift in recoveries from these new infections?
So that's a really interesting point. We are now in our second wave, as everybody's aware, and this has been an extreme trial for our health services because the peaks that we're almost reaching, we think we're reaching round about now, have been more than double what our first wave was.
Wow.
So the pressures on the health services has just been extreme. The curve has been steeper. So the pressure, just in terms of beds, in terms of admissions, is just so much greater. I think that most people will by now know somebody or lots of people who have had COVID.
Yes.
They will probably know somebody who's died of COVID, and they're now probably getting a bit scared that they're seeing younger people with COVID.
Sure.
And so wondering whether that's changed the pattern. So we know that those who are getting COVID can be anybody. All right, children as well. But we certainly seem to see that those who get the severe forms of COVID, so up to 20% of all cases, those who are positive, will have severe enough symptoms that they will need some sort of help in hospital.
Wow.
So either oxygen or breathing assistance or other support. Because remember, it's not just a lung disease, it affects your entire immune system because it's an inflammatory disease. So it affects lots of organs, and of course that was some of the shift that we learned last year when people can present with other symptoms, not just related to cough, sore throat and breathing difficulties. In fact, people can present with diarrhea, they can present with abdominal pain, they can present with headaches, with fever. So general flu-like symptoms. So anytime you're feeling flu-y, that you've got aches and pains, and anything that really doesn't fit, that's the time to say, maybe I should get tested.
Not just taste and smell.
Yeah. Correct.
It's not limited to that. Doctor, just to extend more on the symptoms that people experience, there's public outrage. People are scared and they're still unsure what to do when they present with symptoms such as diarrhea. It could be from food poisoning, but what's the first step to take? Do we go to our GP or to get tested?
Still phone first before
do
we expose anyone else?
Yes.
What do we do? Yeah.
And so some of the difficulties are that actually it changes depending on the pressure on the health system. So for instance, within the Western Cape, the testing facilities at the public health centres, because they get overwhelmed with supply, then they modify. So it's really good to keep up to date with social media because most of our health services are publishing what the latest guidelines are. If you're wanting to go to a private lab, most of the private labs at the moment, some are walk-ins, but most are actually appointment-based or drive-throughs. So it's a really good idea, and some require doctor's referrals. So it's a really good idea to phone your doctor and ask for advice. But the most important thing is that immediately you suspect that you might have COVID is you must isolate. You must make sure, it's nobody's fault to get COVID, but it's certainly you can stop making sure that, that nobody else gets COVID from you. So you need to isolate. That means you come into contact with no one. In your own home, you even isolate yourself in a separate room from other people. You wear a mask inside your home, you make sure that you don't share things with other people, and you make sure that you keep your distance from anybody else in your home. No physical contact, and just be really, really careful. So that's probably the most important thing you can do. And then it's not an emergency to get tested. All right, so you can get provided that you are not struggling to breathe and need hospitalization. But if you are mild, the most important thing is that you isolate at home.
How long do you need to isolate for?
You need to isolate for 10 days. So remember at the beginning of last year, or earlier last year, we were sitting on 14 days.
Yes.
And of course, as we've learned, you know, this is the most unbelievable disease that the entire world is researching, and that we're learning new information all the time. So we know now that 10 days is safe to both isolate and quarantine. So remember that quarantine is I've come into contact with somebody who's positive, and I need to quarantine. So that means that I'm waiting to see whether I incubate COVID, and so I need to quarantine, which is the same thing as isolating, except that I'm waiting to see whether I develop symptoms.
If I need to go and have a test.
Correct, and both are 10 days.
Both are 10 days. I mean, normally we would only kind of access this data and start crunching the numbers years after a pandemic like this, but now we are forced to do this in real time, which I'm sure has added a whole different level of complexity. In the second wave, how many of these new infections are of people who have had it before? Can you have COVID twice? We've spoken about memory cells that can remember and reboot the immune system. Obviously, those antibodies do stay in the body for a time. Can you get it twice?
So that's a really interesting question, which was answered last night during the minister's briefing, is that, so generally our rule of thumb last year was that you couldn't get it twice. However, what we are noticing is that after 90 days, so generally what we say is that within 90 days, it's probably a resurgence of your original infection. So you may feel a little bit better, and then you feel a bit worse again, and you think you've been infected twice, but actually it's a resurgence of your first infection. But after 90 days, so you've had your disease, you've now been completely fine, and after 90 days, which could be a couple of months, you know, many months later, you have another disease and test positive again, we suspect that you are having a secondary infection. However, let's just be clear. We've got 1.34 million cases that have been diagnosed in the country over the last 10 months, and only 4,000 cases can we say have been reinfected. So it's small.
Something to be said for the memory gene or whatever is out there doing that. So much stock is being placed in a vaccine. I've noticed I've got family in the UK right now, and they've kind of drawn that line in the sand. They almost seem to have blinkers on, where they're ignoring everything else and just going straight towards the vaccine. So I'm dying to ask you questions about that. Dr. Beggar's going to stay here, and she is ready to answer your questions. 021 110 5552. Please give us a call if you have any questions relating to COVID-19, the new variant, and the vaccine. We'd love to hear from you.
Oh, such valuable information. Thank you so much, Ian Kukle, for that incredible insert. Now, to step things up a bit, we're going to get sweaty, we're going to get the fire burning, and we're going to get those calories cooking. So the options are endless when it comes to cardiovascular exercise. And whether you decide to run, cycle, dance, hike, or work out from the comfort of your home, any type of cardio exercise can improve your overall health. So no matter how you choose to move, a cardio workout has many benefits, from improving the brain and joint health to weight loss and boosting your mood, and as well as reducing stress. Cardio is always a good idea. So as we continue to face the coronavirus worldwide, it's a good idea to make sure that you give your immune system a boost with this fun 5-minute cardio workout. And I'm joined by the beautiful Jamie Lee Dumberg.
Guys, run. If you decided you're working out with us right now, run, because Ryle is going to put us through our paces, and we're not ready.
You ready though? Because I've seen that I need to challenge you quite a bit after these incredible gains and everything you've been doing over your fitness journey. So we're going to do something a little bit of a level up, let's call it that. And one thing I want to encourage everybody at home is, before we even get into this cardio workout, the fact that we're going to be moving fast means we need to warm up the muscles. So we're going to do exactly that. We're going to start with a warm up, and then we're going to go into our exercises. All right, so the warm up's very simple. We're going from a lunge, a reverse lunge, making sure we keep the spine and the core straight and engaged, and then from here an explosive kick forward, extend extending the leg so you'll feel a stretch in that hamstring and then bringing it straight back. So we're going to do about 6 on each side. So that's number 2. Let's go for another one. And that's number 3. And start getting your kicks to be higher, guys. So making sure you dorsiflex. That means pointing your toe towards the sky when you kick. That's going to allow for the flossing of that neural pathway and allow for that hamstring to kind of just unlock itself and really free itself up. Let's go to the other side now. We're on the right leg. And guys, I'm telling you now, you're going to want to take your time with this warm-up. Enjoy it, because straight after this, we're stepping things up. Jamie, are you nervous?
I'm in pain because I trained. I was in the mountains with you on Sunday. Yesterday I did leg day. So if you hear any weird sounds, just know I'm dying.
So Mzansi, you're with us here. Jamie's got a lot of DOMs from leg day. I did a sprint session last night. So we're all feeling the pain, but we're pushing through nonetheless.
Gotta work.
All right, we're starting off with the first complex. And everything I do here is a complex of 45 seconds of movement with 15 seconds of a timeout, a breather, and then you carry on to the next exercise. So step number 1, it's a lunge, squat, explosive hybrid. All right, so what you're doing is, I'm going to explain it to you. Coming from a lunge into a squat, into a lunge, into a squat. All right, so what it looks like is from my lunge position, I literally stand straight up, explosively jump up in the air, into my squat, and jump down into the lunge on the opposite side. Yeah, you didn't even need a cue, you got it straight away. I told you.
Just the first one.
All right, so Mzansi, you at home, watch my movements right now. So I'm in the reverse lunge position. From here, I explosively jump up into a squat. I land in that squat. As I come out of the squat, I switch over to the opposite side with my lunge. You want to try this out?
Let's do it.
All right, so we start on the right leg.
Okay.
In 3, 2, 1. Let's jump into a squat, into a lunge, into a squat. Nice. Into a lunge. Lovely stuff. And a squat and a lunge. Now you want to make sure you're keeping your spine nice and neutral. You want to keep your balance and keep your core engaged. And of course, the cardiovascular intensity is going to force hand-eye coordination as well. And you're going to sweat, people. Oh, feeling that burn? So if you guys are joining us at home, I'm telling you now what should be feeling it. Your glutes and those quads should be burning. Are they?
It is.
All right, so we're going to move the burn from the quad and we're going to bring it around to the glute. These are called divers, like figure skaters, figure eights, whatever you want to call it. Basically what we're doing, we're going to land on either side of our mat. You guys at home just find about a meter distance apart. What I'm going to do, landing with the right leg on the outside of my right hand, left leg outside of my left hand. But we're landing in somewhat of a curtsy squat. So as I land to the side, I want to take my back leg and pull it into a curtsy position, further stimulating that glute. Beautiful stuff. And then jump over to the other side, and then curtsy position, further stimulating that glute. Beautiful form.
Is that how controlled it's going to be, or are we doing that fast?
We're going to add the speed in. Obviously, you can hear with my breath, I can't even talk, and that's a good thing. That means we're working it out. All right, so left foot over to the right-hand side. You ready?
Yes.
Other side of your mat. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Nice. Other side. Beautiful. Keep going, Mzansi. You got this. Keep that knee to not go over the front toe as you're landing on the ground, and you really want to use that glute to bring you back up off the ground and keep your core engaged at all times. And don't worry about speaking if you're like me. That's not important. Just do the work. Whew. How are you feeling there?
My
2 more seconds.
heart rate is pumping.
2, 1. Woo!
Burning those
Oh, it's getting hot in here, Jamie Lee Domberg. Indeed,
take off
it
your
is.
shoes,
All right, guys. So that should already take you to 2 minutes. We've got the warm-up, which is 1 minute. We've got those 2 exercises. Now we're going to nail the core, and I've got 2 variations for you guys right now. So straight on the ground, finishing off nice and strong. We're going to go into that mountain climber position. Keep a nice neutral spine. Yeah. You're keeping your legs behind you, and we're literally pumping out reps, making sure your spine stays neutral. You'll feel that stimulation in your shoulders. And 45 seconds running on the spot.
Mountain climbers.
You do the best. Mountain climbers. And that will literally give you 5 minutes of an absolute killer cardiovascular calorie burner. Whew. Well, I get my breath back. I'll see you guys later for some more magic as we finish off the show.
It's
Stick
the climb.
around. Ooh. Keep going. 10 more seconds. 9, 8, 2, 1. Woo. Wow. It is done, people. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Stick around for some more magic. We're going to go get our breath. Wow, that was killer, eh?
Only you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Expresso here on SABC3. We are still discussing the coronavirus in South Africa with medical doctor and public health medicine specialist, Dr. Karen Begg. The news of the coronavirus vaccine coming to South Africa has sparked a lot of concern about the side effects of being vaccinated. But Dr. Karen Begg explains what you need to know about the coronavirus vaccine. So please send through your questions on our Facebook page, and she will answer some of them a little later on the show.
Yeah, you can also give us a call, 021 110 5552. We'll answer those calls. Can I be the first to say that side effects versus death? Take the vaccine. Take the vaccine. We know that healthcare workers are the first in line to get the vaccine. When are we going to see the vaccine arrive, and which vaccine do you foresee it being? I know these are quite complicated questions, and we're relying on a lot of things falling into place for this to happen. How is the rollout going to work?
So, as the President and the Health Minister announced, we've got 3 phases that we're looking at in the country and prioritising. So remember that the idea of vaccination is ultimately to reduce numbers of infections going around. But initially, actually, what we're really wanting to do is protect our health services. So the whole reason for the booze ban, the whole reason for making sure that we have curfews, etc., is to reduce the way in which people carry to each other, and so we're reducing for the health services. So right now, phase 1 of the vaccines is going to be for healthcare workers. So those healthcare workers putting their lives on the line to treat COVID, many of them are falling ill. We've just had an absolutely awful news yesterday of a young registrar who's just completed his surgical training, who has 2 young children and a wife who just passed away yesterday from COVID. Those are the kind of people we want to be protecting. So that will be the first rollout. We know that it's coming towards the end of January, beginning of February, so soon, very soon. We are making plans. We have lists of healthcare workers and their risk categories, and we're hoping that every single healthcare worker, and that includes doctors, nurses, porters, receptionists,
in the front line,
everybody on the front line.
Will you need 2 vaccinations to make it work?
So remember that most of the current vaccinations that have been through trials are 2-dose vaccinations. So they require 1 dose followed by another booster dose to get to prime the immune system to build those antibodies. But there's some very encouraging news coming out of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which is a single dose. And obviously for us, from a pragmatic point of view in our country, a single dose would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I know I've seen a lot of fake news on social media about the vaccine and the side effects of it, but what do we know as South Africa about the new vaccine and the positive effects of it?
So what the vaccines do, there are two main types. So let's just give an example. So this is an example of what the virus looks like. It has little coronavirus, so it's a crown, all right, and it has little spikes on it. So this is little spikes, and these spikes are the proteins. And what essentially happens is that our normal immunity is that antibodies, so this is minuscule. Remember, your cell, this goes into your cell. It can't do anything on its own. It has to go into your cell.
Hijack a cell, yeah.
Yeah, so the cell is even bigger than this, all right? This is a virus that goes into your cell, so it's absolutely minuscule. These spike proteins are the ones that attach onto your cell membrane and get into your cell to then replicate. So it uses our own bodies to replicate itself to then cause infection. What your body does normally is that the B cells then recognize these little proteins as an enemy, all right? And these little proteins themselves, these spike proteins, have lots of little portions to them, and that's where we've seen the variant come up with mutations. But this is what it recognizes. And so the antibody recognizes the protein and attaches to it and then destroys the cell. But we also have other forms of immunity called T cells, which are little lymphocytes that come along and gobble up the virus as well. But what the vaccine does is works on the antibody side, all right? So the antibody connects up with this and then fights the cell. So what the vaccine does is it says, we prime the body that before that you've been exposed to the virus, it shows you this little protein. All right. So either it injects the protein through a little messenger virus, an adenovirus, for instance, where it takes the protein and shows the structure of the protein, and so you form antibodies. So remember, it's always your body forming the antibodies. All right. It's just that it's priming it with something that isn't dangerous to you, isn't as dangerous as the virus, and it forms antibodies. Or the messenger RNA virus, a vaccine, which sends the instructions to make the protein. All right, so it goes into your cell, makes the protein, the body goes, this protein isn't so lekker, and makes an antibody to that. So that's what the vaccines are doing, is producing antibodies. The one thing which is why we've seen the kinds of infections that we've seen now, is that if you have mild disease, your antibody response is not that strong. So in fact, we know that those who've been sickest and recovered have a much better immune response to a subsequent infection.
Okay.
So certainly those 4,000 cases with reinfection have not necessarily been those who've been the sickest. So what the vaccine does is give you a strong antibody response, so that if you do have the virus coming into your body, that it then fights that very quickly.
And just so we can make it clear, this is how every vaccine has worked in the history of medical science.
All
this is,
modifications of the same principle, which is that it primes your body to make antibodies.
A lot of questions around the new variant. You said some of those were answered last night by the health minister. Is it spreading faster? If so, why is it spreading faster, and is it more dangerous?
Sure, those are some really good questions. So this little protein that sits on here has a number of different parts to it. And what's happened is the virus gets very clever, because obviously as these antibodies are acting against it, it goes, I need to fight a bit harder. And so it changes and modifies some of the ends of the protein, of the spike protein. And so what's been happening is that we've seen that the ability for it to bind to the cell is much stronger. So obviously it comes across the edge of the wall of the cell, and sometimes it binds and sometimes it doesn't. What the variant is able to do, the 501Y V2 variant, allows it to bind stronger. So that's the one thing. The second part of it we know is that it seems to, because of course the antibody is recognizing the spike protein, is that it's also hiding a little bit, so that the same antibodies that were formed before, it can escape. So what we have seen is that its transmissibility is much higher, in fact up to 50% higher, which is why we've seen, since this particular variant is the predominant variant in South Africa at the moment, is that the rate of cases increasing is so much higher. So that's the one part of it. And the second part of it is that we think that it's less, that our immunity is less to it, and which is why we are seeing that. But is it more severe? Well, what interestingly is that although we've seen many more cases in hospitals and many more deaths, is that the proportion. So if you take the proportion of deaths from the first wave, the same proportion of the second wave is happening. So even though we seem to be seeing more young people, it's just simply because the absolute number is increasing, but the relative number is still the same as in the first wave. Okay.
Dr. Baker is going to stay with us. We are taking your calls, 021 110 552. Give us a call if you have any coronavirus-related questions.
Now, they say necessity is the mother of invention, and today we look at how a father's necessity to protect his daughter has led to an innovative protective clothing solution during the COVID-19 pandemic.
My name is Andrew King, and welcome to M&K Before Inc. Please come in. So the inspiration of me creating the COVID-19 shirt came from my 12-year-old daughter. Happened around mid-April. We were currently in level 5 lockdown, and COVID was very real and very scary back then. So my biggest fear was the safety of my daughter, and I know her requirements, and the requirements is she must have a face mask on. She is a little bit tad complacent, head up in the sky. So I thought, well, if I attach a mask to a shirt, so if I'm by putting a shirt on her back, I'll know that she'll always have a mask when she's needed it. So you may ask, what is a COVID-19 shirt? Well, I summed it up in the 3 C's: convenient, comfort, and certified. When I explain convenience, it's on you, so you simply have to lift it up, and there it is, on you. You've got a toggle at the back, so it will adjust to anything that you want to do. If you simply want to walk into a shopping center, you don't have to have it tight. If you want to exercise, you just pull on the toggle a little tighter, job done. The top is a government standard 3-layer mask, and the certification comes from the filter that is slotted into the pocket, which is MS15 ISO 14644 standard, which is the management of particle droplets. So the cool thing about these filters, they are reusable. So you simply take it out the pocket, boil the kettle, and pour boiling water over. It's very quick drying. And then you put it back into the pocket, job done. And you'll get guaranteed 10 washes out of it. You would only use this filter in high-risk circumstances. So if you went to go and visit an elderly that is poorly, but does need assistance, you would put a filter in. If you were going to hospital, you would put a filter in, or large gatherings.
The beautiful thing about this product, it is not limited to one fabric alone. The one thing that doesn't ever change is obviously this, what I call a modified buff. Andrew refers to it as a front hoodie, the Pure Air hoodie, because it's in a double layer of pure cotton with a polypropylene mesh, which has got electrostatic properties that actually enhances the efficacy of the filter. And also obviously there's the medical grade filter that goes into it. You know, you can have your own fabrics, you can have your own colors. The important thing is that this adheres to the World Health Organization standards and that the requirements are in line with what is expected from a really good personal protective aspect.
And I feel that the hardest challenges for me was keeping my mouth shut. It was an idea that was inspirational. It had the practicalities. I believed it had the legs. And you actually just wanted to tell everyone. But you had to protect yourself, and waiting for that to be protected and registered as the first design of COVID-19 was not easy. So where would I like to take the shirt? Well, the sizes explain it. From 4 years old all the way to 4XL and everything in between. The availability of the shirt is for everyone, and I'm hoping that sky's the limit.
Awesome work. Now, we all need to play our part in slowing the spread of the COVID-19 virus, and that means innovation is welcome when it comes to how we can better protect ourselves and also our loved ones. Awesome work. We'll see you in just a moment.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Our vital discussion, our health discussion this morning. Medical doctor and public health medicine specialist, Dr. Karen Begg, has been answering all of our questions this morning. I really appreciate having her as a resource, so thank you so much for that. This does become quite self-indulgent because I think we're all asking the same questions and wanting to know, but we've got a caller on the line right now. A very good morning. Who am I speaking to? Lynn, a very good morning. How are you?
Hi, it's Lynn. Good morning.
Lynn, what is your question or your comment this morning?
Graham, I'd like to know from the doctor, my daughter is 13. She's got lupus, and I would like to know whether she would be able to receive the vaccine.
Sorry, she has got what? Can you clarify that?
Lupus.
Lupus. Thank you. Very good question. Thank you, Lynn. Doctor?
So at the moment, lupus is an autoimmune disease, so we would always be cautious with any autoimmune diseases. At the moment, unfortunately, none of the vaccines have been tested in children, and whilst we hope to be testing, and we know that children would benefit ultimately from a vaccine, at the moment, all of the vaccines will be focused on adults. So Lynn, to answer your question, we don't know yet. For two reasons. One is because of her being 13, and the second is for her lupus and autoimmune. So at the moment, we are seeing some of the big rollouts across the Northern Hemisphere, and sometimes it's a little bit useful to be a little bit behind the curve, and this is one of those times. Obviously, we'd like the vaccine yesterday, but we are watching to see. So we hopefully will get those answers really soon, Lynn.
You assume that testing is being done?
And an adult with autoimmune disease?
So initially, we're likely to be, so the first phase we'll give to healthcare workers. Second phase will be to all elderly and to those with comorbidities. And so depending on the autoimmune disease, that will be guided by your individual physician, will depend on whether you're at risk. But for the most part, because the vaccines are not live or attenuated virus, they're all, and I'll explain that in a moment. So we're not injecting little bits of actual virus. We're actually injecting either the protein or the instructions to make the protein. Is that in all likelihood they would be okay, but we would be guided by the infectious disease specialists, the vaccinologists, and your physician.
Hopefully more data will emerge as the rollout continues in the north.
Thank you so much, Lynn, for your fantastic questions. Now we move over to Durban with Mrs. Naidu. A very good morning to you, Mrs. Naidu.
Hi, good morning to you. I'd like to find out from the doctor. I have been tested positive of quarantine for 3 weeks, and I'm asymptomatic. And I also have 2 autoimmune diseases, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, sarcoidosis, and I'm diabetic. Do I need to retest after the 3 weeks? And regarding the vaccine, is it safe to take it?
I'm not sure I heard the question properly, but I hear you have comorbidities.
Do you mind repeating the question? Sorry, it's not the best line. Do you mind repeating the question again?
Yes, certainly. I've been tested positive of quarantine for 3 weeks now. I'm asymptomatic with no symptoms.
Right.
And I'd like to find out from the doctor, do I need to retest as I have comorbidities and autoimmune conditions?
Right. That's a really good question. So we don't advise any retesting. And certainly no negative testing. What we don't advise anybody to test to get a negative result. All right. So the what we advise for asymptomatic or mildly symptomatic cases is once you have tested positive, is that you isolate. You're infectious for 10 days, and even if you have some mild symptoms after that, you can de-isolate after 10 days. It's different for those who are hospitalized, and we generally advise for 10 days after you've stopped needing oxygen. But certainly in your case, being asymptomatic, you can de-isolate after 10 days. You do not need to retest. In fact, we strongly advise against negative testing, so against testing for negative, because first of all, the test is still likely to pick up the little bits of RNA of the virus that are sitting in your respiratory tract. So it will still come back positive, but you're no longer infectious anyway. So it's a wasted test. And so we really want to make sure that we preserve the testing to diagnose those who are becoming positive. So we just simply say you may de-isolate after 10 days, do not negative test, only if you are well again for more than 3 months, and then you appear to have another infection, could you then possibly retest, because you're then diagnosing a possible reinfection. But as we say, minuscule numbers of reinfections.
Of doing that, a small percentage. We've got Brian on the line from Cape Town. Morning, Brian. What's your question?
Yeah, morning. How's it going?
Very good. Thanks, man. What's your question for Dr. Begg?
What I'd like to find out is, from what I've seen is like with pregnant women, they suggest at this point there's been no sort of testing to say, look, it is safe or not. So what I'm trying to find out, similarly with my parents who are in their mid-70s who have everything what I call on that hit list, that you've got to be careful with, cancer, kidney, lung, diabetes, all of that. What is the test have they done any tests with regard to this? Will any of the vaccines we reported to be getting has ill effects on those who are, have cancer, who are type 2 diabetes, all of that? Is there any negative reactions that have been reported through testing?
Thank you so much, Brian, for your question.
Thanks, Brian.
Great question. So the side effects of vaccines are similar to most vaccines. So remember that you are creating an immune response. All right. So so similar to when you are creating an immune response when you have the disease, you might get a fever, you might feel a bit icky, a little bit of kind of flu-y symptoms. Similarly, because you are mounting the immune response, that is the appropriate. It tells you that the vaccine's working. All right. So if you are feeling a little bit flu-y, have a bit of a fever, that's an appropriate side effect for the vaccine. It tells you it's working. Similarly, at the injection site, you may get a little bit of a local reaction so it might get a little bit red, a little bit inflamed, a little bit painful, and that's an appropriate response. So those are all normal responses to a vaccine that we would see in anybody. What you're asking about is around comorbidities and does it have any additional effects. So far, we have not seen that, and I think that once again, the example is that we're starting to see big rollouts in the Nordic countries, particularly in what we would have in our second phase rollout. As we haven't got to our first phase yet, but in our second phase rollout. So we've got the lessons that we're busy watching, and elderly people are being vaccinated in big numbers. We have seen a few deaths, but people in their 80s with lots of comorbidities die. Because those are the reasons that they die.
Yeah.
Whether they've died from the negative effects of the vaccine is yet to be shown. And remember that in Norway, I think we've seen around something like 14 to 15 deaths in the last few weeks of those who've had vaccines. But at the same time, 48,000 people have died in that age group. Wow. So we've got to understand, and what we need to understand is that vaccines are probably the most regulated substance on the planet. And so the monitoring and evaluation and examination of any side effects is just unbelievable. So, and we will have that in this country
and
as
we
well.
have the millions have been rolled out already in the UK alone. We're going to have a case study that's growing and evolving. I think we're going to have to probably continue this discussion next Tuesday. So, Doc, expect a call from us.
Sure.
I've got to say, your knowledge base is vast. So, thank you so much for allowing us to plug into that.
Really importantly, it doesn't matter whether you have a vaccine or whether you don't. Wear your mask.
Always.
Stay physically distanced. This is the time to have your social engagements at a Bluetooth level and not physically. Please wear your mask, sanitize, and keep your distance. Stay at home as much as possible.
Thank you so much. Hopefully that's been helpful for you guys at home. You can continue to post those questions on our Facebook page, and we're going to continue this discussion over the weeks, well, for as long as we have to. But thank you so much for weighing in with your questions as well.
Again, Doc, such valuable information. Now, I think when it comes to the advice with coronavirus and the pandemic, we got that box ticked. When it comes to entertaining your kids or anybody staying at home, we got that box ticked. We ticked the fitness box, and now we're going to tick that belly and get all the health that you absolutely deserve. And myself and Jamie Lee Domberger in the kitchen, we're cooking up a storm. We're doing something special, right? And we've got a soup, I believe. The weather's getting warmer. I think it's the perfect time to kind of incorporate something that also warms the belly too, right? So I think it's really cool that we're offering some goodness inside and out, and the soup is loaded with potassium, fiber, vitamin A, and of course the goodness of canola oil, and it's the Be Well asparagus soup, which is the perfect way to join in on the veganuary deliciousness. And you can get this recipe on the expressoshow.com. Now the best part is the recipe only requires 6 ingredients, and that's enough to serve the entire family.
It's going to feed the belly, it's going to feed the soul, and we're going to get right into it because I've already started with browning my onions. So you're going to put your onions in the pot, of course, with our hero ingredient over here. It is that Be Well canola oil. I'm just going to put a little bit
while you're doing
there.
that Be Well canola oil, obviously it's locally produced, which is always a big important factor for me when it comes to the rest of Mzansi as well. And canola oil is also naturally cholesterol free. It's low in saturated fat, and it's also high in omega-3s, which the body absolutely loves, and as well as endorsed by the Heart and Stroke Foundation of South Africa. So what more could you want in a hearty soup? Yes. Where we at? You browned your onion, you've got the Be Well hero ingredient in. Yes. What's next?
I threw my garlic in.
Garlic,
so this is the perfect time to get that garlic in. You can see it's nice and brown. And then, of course, the hero dish as well.
Yeah.
It is our asparagus. So this has been cut in halves, and it's nice and green. We gave it a good rinse, and that's going to go into our pot over there. I'm going to... It's boiling from me. And this is going to go in for about 3 minutes each side. So just get that flavors nice in. You can hear the sizzle.
Now, one thing I must say that is I struggle with keeping my soup green. Often it just ends up being brown. And I'm like, all these guys with pea soups and asparagus and kale and cabbage, why is mine brown and theirs green? Do you have any idea, Jamie?
I don't know why that happens, but what I can add to that is maybe try a handful of baby spinach in the recipe once you've cooked it. So once you're done with everything, because it does take away from the color, add that baby spinach. It will still bring that vibrant colors, and then it still ticks all the boxes as well. So what we're going to do right now is we are going to put in our vegetable stock. So this 3 minutes goes in. In die potte sing. And then not forgetting the good seasoning, because you always want some good seasoning. You can layer it up, some salt.
You've got garlic in there already, right? So you're adding salt to this now?
And some pepper. You can go a bit crazy if you want and put some chili in. You always want some bite in there. And that goes in the pot for about 30 minutes. You're going to close it up. It's going to cook. It's going to bring it to nice. It's going to give the asparagus a bit of crunch, still leaving a bit of crunch, but still the texture and the flavor is there. Once you're done with this, you're going to throw in some lemon, and this is the zest, it's the vibe, it's the flavor profile that's all coming in there.
Just balance it all out, I'd imagine.
Yes, and then you just want to season it again with some salt, some pepper, some chili. Don't be shy, everybody. And then what you want to do is you're going to put it in the blender. So once this is done, 30 minutes, put it in the blender. Depending on the texture you want. If you want it nice and smooth, like the recipe, like we have over here, you can do it like that, and then just put it back into the pot, reheat it, and there you have it, meat-free asparagus soup. It ticks all the boxes, and it's perfect for our veganuary.
Perfect, and I think you can add any other ingredients that you would love to in there, but does it not smell delicious? And I know it's going to warm the belly. So head over to expressoshow.com for this recipe inspiration, and all you got to do is get cooking. What are you waiting for?
Be well, love, food, life.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. Of course, we are still live, full of smiles here. G, how you feeling, brother?
I'm good. I'm ready.
Right, so we promised you guys something special, of course. Now, last week we treated you to a sing-along with the presenters and, of course, Jared Ricketts. And if you missed it, take a look at this.
Come on. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine,
Jared, guess what?
I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. 1, 2, 3, let it shine. Everybody, come on. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. It's gonna shine, shine. This little light of mine, oh, I'm gonna let it shine.
Clearly, you can see all the chaos that was had. So this is how karaoke works, right? So each presenter will take turns in choosing a song they would like to lead with, and then we will let you know our song choice every week in advance. So then it's up to you, Mzansi, to sing along, and you can also send us a video of you singing next week's song, and you too can be a part of Expresso's Karaoke Tuesday.
And maybe suggest some cool songs as well.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Great
So
sing-alongs.
I think without further ado then, Kukle, seeing that we are doing this next week, what song are you going to give to Mzansi so they can prepare?
I'm throwing it back to the days, man. Uma Brenda Fasi with Weekend Special. Yes.
I like it. I can get down to that.
So send your video, sing along to Weekend Special, and we will absolutely love to see them on the show.
We'll do our best to compliment you, because you will be the real stars of the show. But of course, we've got something to get through today.
We do indeed. So it's apparently my turn to lead this morning's Expresso
Not
session.
apparently.
You earned the right,
I know about this. So we're going to be singing something special. It's called My Girl, and this is by The Temptations. Presenters, let's take it away.
Okay, let's do it, man.
All right.
Okay, it's a group effort. We can do this. We can do this.
Ooh, why am I so nervous?
I don't know. I'm also very nervous. I've got sunshine on a cloudy day.
Yes!
When it's cold outside, I've got the month of May.
Here we go.
I guess you say, what can make me feel this way?
My girl.
My girl.
Talking about
my girl. My girl. Here we go.
I got so much
Give it, boy. Give it.
Oh, yes.
Give it, boy.
like the birds envy me.
Hey!
Wow. Creative.
I got the sweetest song than the birds and the trees.
Own it, baby. Own it, baby.
Yeah. I guess you say what can make me feel this way.
My girl.
My girl. My girl.
Talking about
My girl. My girl.
Who's next?
How did this part go?
I feel like you got this one.
Come on, G. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She's in the building. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey.
Huh?
And 4. Okay.
Okay.
Very soon. Boo, boo, boo.
I don't need no money.
No money.
Fortune or fame.
Oh, no.
I don't. I've got all the riches, baby. One man can claim. I guess you'll say, what can make me feel this way? My girl.
My girl. My girl.
Talking about my girl.
My girl. I've got sunshine.
Go on. DJ.
With my girl.
With my girl.
This is it. I've got you for the month of May with my girl. With my girl. Talking about my girl.
There you have it, Mzansi. The absolute worst karaoke that we will ever see this year. The bar's been set. We'll see you next week for more. Guys,
Sit there. That's where the bar is. You can do it. We love you, man. Wow.
My girl.
Made with love by Clover.
Another feel-good production.